I used to play Jericho with egg cartons. So my job when I was real little was to squish the egg cartons for recycling. So I would pretend it was the city of Jericho and I would leave one standing for Rahab, like that prostitute that was nice that they like kept her house up. Yeah.
That's so funny. And then of course, like the recycling people get it and they're like, why do all of these egg cartons just have one thing standing?
Yeah.
That's really weird.
Yes. I was upset she wasn't in the Veggie Tales version, Josh and the Big
Listen,
Wall.
yep,
Yeah.
that just unlocked
I
something in my brain. The boys are back in town.
the
That's us.
boys the
We're the
boys are back in
boys.
town. We're the boys. Well, welcome back to Not My Fantasy, the show where we talk about fantasy films and the lore that inspired them. Today we have part of this triple threat, OG friend of the pod, Alyssa.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi. We
Thanks for
have been
having me.
floating this episode for years that we were going to talk
Back
about Prince
in
of.
Glee Boot days,
Yes.
we've been talking about doing this.
Because if you were listening to the Glee Boot era, Alyssa was one of our co-hosts for Glee Boot, and we were like, "Yeah, Prince of Egypt's a banger movie. We just need to talk about it."
Yeah.
And we're finally doing it.
Yeah.
Freaking love The Prince of Egypt. I'm so excited for this episode, you guys.
Yes.
And in time for Passover and Alyssa's birthday, which just
Yeah.
kind of
hmm
worked out. Yeah,
hmm It's been like, and my birthday is so close to Easter this year because Easter's
Yeah.
next week.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I watched this movie as an Easter tradition in a very
Same.
tangential connection to Passover. So
yeah. We watched
Hmm.
it. I remember watching it during COVID. We had like Prince of Egypt Day.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
This is Egypt Day. I love
Because
that.
sometimes in COVID and lockdown, it's like, what are we doing? I remember we made burgers and we watched The Cat Returns.
Yep,
It'd be
yep.
like, what are we doing to make the day not just like every other?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, we're talking about Prince of Egypt from 1998. Safe to say we've all seen this movie.
And I don't have a count anymore. It's probably, I feel like saying 100 is like too much, but it does kind of feel like I've seen it that many times.
Yeah. I don't think I
Uh,
saw it in theaters as a kid, but I think we had it on VHS. I know we had it on VHS.
I was gonna say I highly doubt because we would have been like four. So
I saw
Cullen and I would have been like four.
I saw Mulan and
yeah.
Bug's Life that came out this year as well, though.
In theaters?
In
How do you
theater,
remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I mean, I remember my
wow.
memories start about three.
Wow.
That's impressive. My
Hmm.
memories start yesterday, so
Yeah, I was gonna say.
She's like, "Nice to meet you guys."
I had this in
yeah.
my inbox and I decided to show up.
Well, I watched the movie yesterday, so but I
So,
have seen it way more than just once, like
Yeah.
probably at least 33 times considering, but
Right, yeah.
yeah,
I think well, it's pretty safe to say that like with the three of us having grown up religious, this
mhm,
movie, that's how we got to this movie.
yeah,
Um, but I still have, not being religious now, I still have a very deep love and affinity for this movie on so
Mhm.
many levels. So,
yeah,
yeah, um I think we definitely owned it as a kid, but then
yeah.
I also bought it for myself as an
Hmm.
adult. So it is on in my top five films. And that's saying something because I like worked in the industry for a while. So
Hmm.
it's up there. It's very good.
Yeah.
And we know that our this is kind of a stretch of our usual theme. This is not the first time we've covered a Bible story. And when we talk about mythology, that doesn't mean we're saying fake, untrue. Though we will get into like the various historical roots of this story. Mythology can mean any story, a religion, a faith, a people tell about themselves to explain their worldview, their spirituality. So the story of Moses falls into that. And we obviously, I grew up with this story. I grew up religious. This story, though, it definitely struck a different tone for me for the first time on this watch, with everything going on with Israel and the US and Palestine and Iran and Christian Zionism and Netanyahu and Pete Hegseth and all this stuff going on in the Middle East. So, because this is a very complicated thing, I wrote out what I'm going to say. I know usually we're a little more off the cuff, but we just felt like this is something that we wanted to address very carefully because there's a lot of people going in a very extreme directions saying stuff. So, like most stories, especially in the Bible, the story of Moses and the Exodus from Egypt can be interpreted to mean many things. We're discussing it as an origin myth for the ancient Hebrew people and the religion of Judaism, and it is a foundational myth to all the Abrahamic faiths, which include Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. And it carries a lot of weight to a lot of people all over the world. And this can be a story about how God sees slavery and the pride of empires as evil and worthy of punishment. That it's not just the leaders who make these decisions, but those who are complicit in empire are deserving of punishment for the sin of exploitation of others. God sides with oppressed people and sets them free. This story was deemed dangerous by American Christian slaveholders, and they tried to have it removed from the Bible when they were forced converting the Africans they trafficked and had like slave Bibles that didn't have this story. So it just shows you how powerful the
Mm.
story can be. It can also be read as a story about God having favorites and disposing of his favorites' enemies with a cruel callousness that they inherently deserve, that any lesser life is worth killing in order to protect the safety of God's chosen people, whoever that could be, Jewish, Christian, Muslim. Many Abrahamic faiths use this kind of theology to justify their war crimes against their non believing enemies who deserve God's wrath and punishment and fire raining down. This can be seen all over history, as even especially strong today. We may sing about our miracles while praising the death and suffering of others. People always read the story as we are God's chosen people and our enemies are the Egyptians, no matter how powerful and exploitative we are, no matter how oppressed our enemies are. This is called Disney princess theology. So, this idea that, like, when you watch a Disney princess movie, the child is supposed to see themselves as the princess. And people
Mm.
will read a Bible story and they'll always see themselves as the good guy, even if they're doing the things the bad guys do in the story. They're
Mm.
always the one on God's side, and their enemy is always the bad person. They like no nuance basically, because that makes sense when you're 3 and you're watching Cinderella, but doesn't make sense as you're an adult understanding your place in morality. So,
Mhm.
understanding the spiritual importance of this founding myth of a people who have often been othered and displaced does not mean approval of genocidal and warmongering behavior, especially in the modern state of Israel and its allies. And believing in God's promise to Abraham does not mean supporting the right of an all Jewish ethnic state in the area by any means necessary. The modern nation state did not exist as a concept when the Bible was being written, despite what Mike Huckabee might say. The idea of a modern nation state is actually very new. We're talking, this was a new idea at like the French Revolution. So to say the Bible takes such ideas is a mischaracterization of the text. That even supposes the idea that the Bible should play a role in modern government, politics, and diplomacy, which I would say it shouldn't unless it encourages you to be moral and ethical to others. But beyond that, it's not a text for modern governance in a modern secular world. All that to say, this story can be used to justify both horrible acts and heroism. And the state of Israel does not speak for all Jews, all Jewish people, all people of faith, and neither do we. None of us are Jewish. So that's the main political statement we wanted to make. Just also with my relationship with religion, you could also read this as a story about a self-absorbed ethnic god who shows patterns of abuse and cruelty and will kill many to show others just how powerful he is. He is one-upping the Egyptian gods, and that makes sense as a founding myth for an ancient people, less so for a modern god. Her morals are supposed to be all good and all unchanging. This reflects my personal relationship with God. God is either all good or all powerful, but to me, it doesn't make sense for him to be both. Perhaps this deity is a separate character from the creator of the universe, the one who I feel like is in us all. Perhaps he underwent character growth. Perhaps he's imperfect. I just feel like these are two separate entities, or one entity misinterpreted by the fallible humans, making their own myth. Today, we're recording on Palm Sunday. There was controversy about the Latin patriarch being barred from the Church of the Holy Sepulchre by the Israeli government due to the war in Iran. And that's the first time that's happened in a very long time. And the Pope this Palm Sunday said, brothers and sisters, this is our God, Jesus, King of Peace, who rejects war, whom no one can use to justify war. He does not listen to the prayers of those who wage war, but rejects him, saying, even though you may make many prayers, I will not listen. Your hands are full of blood. Obviously, in history, many Christians have used religion to justify war. The Crusades come to mind, but plenty of others. And Pete Hegseth, our head of the Department of War, with white supremacy tattoos and a history of domestic abuse and violence, called the Iran War a holy war for God. So we're just saying that we're not pro-war people, that we should all seek for peace and not kill people, especially children. And that's what we want to talk about in modern politics. And we're talking about the movie Prince of Egypt. We're here to have a good time. That's what we wanted to say.
Yeah, I think because I texted you and being like, I don't quite know how to articulate it. And I think you did a really good job of articulating the complexity of talking about this movie on a podcast in our current political state because a story like this does get co-opted for, war purposes. It's a really odd time to be doing this for sure, but I guess like in general, like in the past, 80 years? If this movie had existed 80 years ago, it never really would have been a good time because,
Yeah.
the political discourse around the state of Israel. So we're not going to talk about politics after this. It's really just now we're going to get into the movie, the mythology, the lore, so to speak.
Happy Passover. Peace to everybody. Not to sound like a hippie, but why not? I'm going to sound like a hippie. So this movie is a 1998 American animated musical drama film directed by Brenda Chapman, Steve Hickner, and Simon Wells, written by Philip Lazebnik. Music by the creator of all our favorite Bible-based bangers, Stephen Schwartz,
Mhm.
and Hans Zimmer. A budget of 100 million and made 218.6 million, despite being banned in some Muslim countries due to Islam's prohibition on depicting prophets visually.
Mm,
This is
interesting.
DreamWorks' first 2D animated project and their second film overall. And it's a passion project for Jeffrey Katzenberg, Disney producer and the head who left in the 90s after helping with the creation of the Renaissance, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin. He was leaving about the Lion King time because Michael Eisner was like, you out. So he teamed up with Steven Spielberg to create DreamWorks, and he had always been pitching a Ten Commandments movie. And Disney typically does not do movies about religion. So they were kind of like, and he's like, it's my studio, it's my time. Uh, this movie won an Academy Award for Best Original Song, When You Believe.
Hmm.
It stars Val Kilmer as Moses, with Emick Bryan as Moses' singing voice. He also plays Val Kilmer also is the voice of God because God is speaking in
Hmm.
Moses' head.
Yeah.
Uh, Ralph Fiennes as Ramesses, Michelle Pfeiffer as Zipporah, Sandra Bullock as Miriam, with Sally Dworsky providing Miriam's singing voice, as well as director Brenda Chapman in the one time when she sings the lullaby. Uh,
Interesting. I
it
did
was
not know
a
that.
scratch recording, and they're like, that slaps. Let's keep it in.
Yeah.
Uh, Jeff Goldblum as Aaron, Danny Glover as Jethro, with Brian Stokes Mitchell as his singing voice. Patrick
Mhm.
Stewart, you may know him as the voice of the poop emoji from the Emoji Movie. He
Yep,
plays,
that's the only place
yeah,
we know him from.
yeah,
Yeah, Sir Patrick Stewart. Let's be really respectful of his
respectful.
work and his accomplishments, okay? Yes, he did voice the poop emoji.
but he also
Most
voiced
important thing he's ever
Pharaoh
done.
Seti. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
You
second
guys
most
just
important thing he
like
did was the poop emoji.
everyone, all the Trekkies just turned this off.
Yep. They're like, fuck you. We don't understand sarcasm.
uh,
Um,
Helen
and also a
Mirren.
Trekkie myself. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Helen Mirren's
Dame Helen Mirren.
Queen Tuya, and Linda Day Shane provides her singing voice. Steve Martin is Hotep, and Martin Short as Hoy, and Ofra Hazah as Yocheved, and she did the voice in a lot of different languages.
Oh,
Because I think her voice is just so special. It's just like, let's keep this as much as we can. Uh,
yeah. And
yeah,
that's the mom,
the
right?
mom, yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yocheved. She's, oh God. And she does the singing voice too, right?
yes.
Well, I guess she only
She
sings
only
pretty
really
much.
sings, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Her voice is just gorgeous.
yeah. I didn't forget to put this in my notes. There was a 2022 or 2020 West End musical version, and there
Oh, there
is a pro
was.
shot. Um,
I've seen parts of it. It's interesting. It's interesting.
yeah, there's some music choices I'm like, that's smart, and then there are others I'm like, why would you change the plagues?
They changed the plagues.
Wait, how
That's
do you
like
change
one
the
of the
plague? It's in
best
the Bible.
songs.
They like
Oh, you mean they
changed
changed
this
the?
this the song.
I thought you meant like they're like,
No,
we're not doing locusts.
no
We don't like
locust.
locusts. That's gross.
Locusts do not test well with the British. Yeah.
We're doing bees.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like why you made musical perfection. Why would you
Yeah, that
change
is.
it?
Oh my God. Okay, there's literally no reason. I'm sorry, there's no reason to change any of these songs. They are certified bangers from top to bottom. Like, what are
Yeah.
we doing?
But they're the way they do one of the cool things they did is they do like the chant of all the gods leading into the plagues. So they're like chanting
Mm.
all the gods, and then you get the say the Lord, the say, and I'm like, okay, I see the vision. That's
I see the
cool.
connections.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And like the way they do like the Red Sea, okay, yeah. But then other things I'm like, hmm, you know,
Yeah. I think
uh
there's also like controversy around like some of like the design and also the choreography.
yeah.
I watched some of
Really?
these videos. 'Cause they made some choices, capital C
Yeah.
choices. Some people were like, yikes. Other people were like, okay. I
Hmm.
can where there's like a full pro shot available?
Yeah.
Oh,
Where?
I think it's
Because
on
I have
sale
been
on Amazon
wondering.
right now because this
I've
movie
wondered
was
about
99
where.
cents. You've been
On
wondering
Amazon?
what?
I was
Yeah,
wondering if there was a musical somewhere, like if they had turned it into a live
they did.
performance. Um,
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could rent it for $4. You can buy it for 8, or you can get a 7-day free trial of Broadway HD on Amazon Prime. Um,
Free
wow.
trials. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly how Alyssa saw this movie. Free
Yes,
trial.
yes. Let's be clear. I was watching it at my boyfriend's house and he doesn't have a DVD player, so I had
Right.
to get it some way.
I was shocked because I was like, I'm so sure Alyssa has this on DVD.
I do. I
Yeah.
100% do, but I was not in a place with a DVD player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of getting a DVD player because then you can just own a movie.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
whole I love my DVD player and all my DVDs.
Yeah.
It's great, except when
I'm
you move.
thinking of, yep, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Once I get to someplace a little more settled, I'm going back to physical media. I'm going to start buying CDs. I'm going to start buying records. I'm going to start buying DVDs and Blu-ray.
Mhm.
Like, I'm done with all this streaming and having to buy things like Amazon. Not to get, this is sort of political because capitalism is political, but um, if you buy a movie on a service, you do not own the movie. You own the license to watch that movie whenever you want, as long as it's available on that platform, because the
Mhm.
studios can pull that license from Amazon Prime if their contract fails, and then you technically don't own that movie anymore. So just like a
Yeah.
heads up, you know.
Yeah.
And
Same thing.
now,
Oh, same thing with video games. I know that Nintendo is about to
Yeah.
increase the price of their physical copies. I'm gonna tell you it's gonna be super worth it because they will have the full control over the digital copy. And if they decide to pull it from their library for whatever reason, or they stop providing, you know, patches and stuff, your physical copy is the best way to maintain that game. So just a little sprinkling of politics there.
Yeah, and at the
Shout out to
used
the gamers. The gamers tuned in. The
tune
gamers
into
just
this,
tuned in.
yeah. And if you go to like a used bookstore, they actually have like a ton of DVDs now. So it's
Because
like,
everyone's getting rid of them. Like,
yeah,
what do I
Yeah.
need these, this second half of the second season of Glee DVD set? I can watch it wherever.
yeah.
And it's like, well,
So the lore of this movie is the story of Exodus. Now, I didn't ask. I know for the Nativity one, I asked Journey to Bethlehem.
yeah.
Did we do the Bible reading? I sent it out and said this is
Oh,
optional.
I
Yeah, I
did.
did not. You
I
did.
did. Yes, I
Amazing.
did.
I wanted
I
to, I just didn't.
I felt like I was back in high school and I was reading
Mm,
homework.
It did feel like that. I fell asleep and had to go back and do that. Had to
Yeah.
go back and finish. Um,
I
you
cut
fell
it in
asleep
two
reading
parts.
the book of Exodus, or were
One
you
yeah,
of the
listening to
most
it?
exciting books in the Bible.
Honestly,
it
it actually has
probably,
like events. Yeah,
yeah. I was
Yeah,
reading
it
it
is.
and I was like,
that's
for the time, a lot of stuff, a lot of plot, a lot of good story setup.
Mhm.
and that's
Um,
how this movie came to
yeah,
be because the
yeah.
text is
It's
pretty
there.
rich. Yeah.
But there is a lot of repetition and a lot of like, okay,
Yeah.
wait. Like we're repeating
Well,
this and then it's happening again and then I'm like so I have to like go back and be like, what events?
I
What's the
mean, it's
sequence?
structured like an epic poem, basically. It's
Yeah.
Mm.
structured like a poem. It's poetry.
It was probably oral long before it was written,
Hmm.
too,
Yeah.
just because that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
typically how humans have been.
And
Um,
it's also translated like from
yeah,
Translated
three
upon
different languages.
translation
So,
upon
yeah.
translation. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. I think
Um,
what was the link I sent you? I was reading the book my dad gave me, the Ignatius Holy Bible. He gave me this when he found out I was in a Protestant Bible study. Um, he passed down his
I
Bible to me.
I
I
read
Protestant
from
Bible
my
study is like,
dad's
no.
Bible.
Mm-mm.
okay.
Oh, so you guys read it from the physical text.
From a
Yeah.
Bible.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, my
I
Sometimes
would have
parents
been
have it,
reading
so
it on CatholicBible.com or whatever you had sent the last
yeah.
time, where
I seriously
originally,
considered.
like, I remember Cullen sent the link to whatever we we read, what, like
Luke,
Mark,
Luke and Mark, yeah,
Luke and
for
Mark, and it was automatically set to like the Catholic, like one of the Catholic Bibles, and I went, no, I'm a Methodist, and I went to change it, and I went, it is going to be slightly different. I should just read the Catholic version. I should read the version that Cullen is reading. So that's probably where I would have read it if I read it. But
Mhm.
hey, I technically did go to a church today. I went to a spaghetti dinner and Chinese auction, and I won a massage certificate. Thank you very much. So,
Ooh, nice.
Ooh, yeah.
Very good. I
Uh,
think I think I read from like it's like the Bible. It's a large print version, which was actually kind of nice. Um,
amazing.
especially for the Bible. But it was I have you ever heard of like Bible in a
Bible in a
Bible a
day,
day?
Hmm.
But
Bible in a year, and it's like you read.
yes,
Yeah, my
yes.
parents definitely did that.
Yeah, so I think it's the Bible that goes with that program. And then
Mm,
also there was a book of maps that I looked at because there
mm.
was like
Ooh,
maps of the um
the Exodus.
the area that the
Hmm.
Hebrews exodused
Hmm.
from.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this is part of the Torah, as well as the Pentateuch, which are a series of the first five books of the Bible, which in tradition were said to have been written by Moses. This is the second book of the Bible. This is Bible part two.
hmm.
Picks up after Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. So after the Andrew Lloyd Webber musical, after
Yeah.
Joseph and the Israelites moved to Egypt, and
We
this,
get Jeffrey Katzenberg's.
yeah,
We get
Jeffrey,
this. Yeah.
yeah, and then after that is the wandering in the 40 years in the desert, the Ten Commandments, the golden calf, manna, all that stuff.
Mm.
Uh, Again, a Veggie Tales lyric just invading my brain. For years I've eaten nothing but manna, a dish that is filling but bland. The movie Ten Commandments, which was a huge movie in the 50s, very successful, 3 hours and 29 minutes. This one's only 90.
Three
Retells the
hours and
story.
29 minutes.
Yeah,
Oh God.
yeah.
Ah.
Now I have a pop quiz for everybody.
Okay, I'm
Uh,
ready. I'm ready to
what
dive
are the
in.
Ten Commandments?
Oh,
Oh, I don't know them in order, but thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not take the Lord's name in vain, thou shalt not disobey mother and father,
mm-hmm.
um, thou shalt not worship false idols. That's five. I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Thou shalt not take other gods
thou not,
before me.
oh,
I forget the ones that you said already. So
yeah. Well, I did like lie and steal and kill. Those are the big ones.
Hmm.
yes.
Um, okay, what are we missing? We got six out
Uh
of 10.
is covet thy neighbor's wife the same as adultery? Is
Depends on
that the
what
same?
denomination you are.
Oh, okay.
So, okay, so here's
Now we're getting political.
now we're getting
Mhm.
political. My favorite kind of politics. So there's the Ten Commandments. I am the Lord thy God, thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Mhm.
And then if you're Catholic, number two is you shall not take the Lord's name in vain.
Mhm.
Mm.
And then
I
it goes
remember
to honor the
all
Lord's day,
oh,
Oh,
honor thy
okay.
father and mother. And then five is thou shalt not kill. Six is thou shalt not commit adultery. Seven is thou shalt not steal. Eight is thou shalt not bear false witness.
Ah,
And
yes.
then nine is thou shalt not cover thy neighbor's wife. And then 10 is neighbor's goods.
ah,
His ox, his ass.
Mm.
He can't be like, damn, I want that ass. No. Uh,
Yeah, there you
yeah.
go. That
Uh,
covers three.
and then Christian, like not Catholic, like Protestant, number two is thou shalt not create graven images because we don't like graven
mm,
images and worship them. And then
Idols, false idols, right?
false idols, yeah.
Right.
And
Okay.
then,
yeah.
but graven
And
images
you know what
because,
VeggieTale story comes to my mind? The Easter Bunny, the chocolate bunny,
Yep, yep.
yeah, it was the
worshiping the
false,
chocolate bunny.
worshiping the chocolate bunny,
Hmm.
because a big part of the Reformation was less imagery, less stained glass windows and
Right.
statues and stuff that are a big part of Catholicism. But also, I'm sure there was like biblical translation reasons why. And then but that means number nine and 10 are combined. So your wife is included with your possessions.
Oh.
Nice.
So growing
Nice.
up, I was taught that, oh, it's because Protestants view your wife as a possession, and we see that that is a separate thing, which I is probably far more generous to Catholics than the actual
These.
interpretation. Yeah, but that's what I grew up with. That's what I was told.
Yeah.
But I'm
Hmm.
sure it's much more like we
That's so
love a
funny.
graven image. Yeah. Uh, so yeah, that's our Ten Commandments pop quiz. I would like every politician who always wants to put them in classrooms to list them because honestly, I think most of them couldn't. I'm just gonna be so real. And
Yeah, like
now,
having to
like,
explain to a 6-year-old what's adultery?
yeah, that was
Like,
a that
well,
was a tough one. That was like, I mean, my whole sex education that I was given in school was related to thou shalt not commit adultery. And
whoa.
so you don't really know what that is, and they kind of dance around it, and yeah. Um,
Hmm.
but
Okay.
eventually you're old enough to understand like cheating. So you're like,
Hmm.
oh, like you
Yeah.
don't cheat on your
Yeah.
your spouse, you know what an affair is. Yeah. Something I learned though is that a lot of the Quran, because I was like, is there like a Moses chapter of the Quran? I learned that a lot of the Quran is written based assuming that you have a base knowledge of a lot of these stories. So they're not going to retell all of Moses. They're going to reference
Oh.
different
Hmm.
incidents in Moses's life and like maybe add, like
Mm.
new stories that wouldn't be like in the book of Exodus, but they're like assuming you're familiar.
Wow.
That's
Are
something I
there
learned.
Are there like other religious texts that the Quran references that just aren't considered as holy?
Um,
Hmm.
that's a great question, and I would also like to
I
know.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know
Get in the
why I'm asking
comments.
you, but
Yeah, I did a lot of, I'm gonna be honest, I did a lot of Wikipedia research. I find whenever it comes to like the Bible stuff, it is the
Mhm.
best place because otherwise I'd have to read 9 million books and I have to figure out the
Mhm.
exact religious persuasion of everyone involved. Like, it's very hard to find objective things about stuff that's so influential. So I'm like,
Yeah.
Wikipedia gives me like the most base knowledge for me giving like a base kind of coverage of this story, and then like we'll go to the Bible text. But that was something cool and new that I learned about the Quran. But it was very daunting. Like looking at some of those pages, I was like, this is a lot of information.
Hmm.
Because sometimes I'm starting with a base knowledge, and when I'm starting with like no base knowledge, I'm like, okay, where do I go? As Pocahontas sings in Pocahontas 2, where do I go from here? Um,
The fact they made a second one. All right, we can't get into it.
they were making a second one of everything. They made
Yeah.
a direct straight to DVD prequel to this one.
What?
What?
Joseph, King of Dreams.
That was straight to DVD?
Straight to VHS and DVD, yeah.
Okay, I know it's the story technically before. I know that's how the
Right.
Israelites got to Egypt, but I don't consider it a prequel at all. Because I
I
do
guess in
know that
movie
movie. I
terms,
also own that one. It's not as good.
I'd say
Yeah.
I actually don't know if I ever watched it because I was like, this music, it's not the same.
I just know the You Know Better
No.
Than I song. I remember that because that
Mhm.
would be in all like the trailers. But I think like
Mm,
and I'm usually an Andrew Lloyd Webber hater, but I think the Technicolor Dreamcoat songs are so strong in my mind that like,
mm.
you know, you can't top
It,
it.
yeah. I mean, it was good. It wasn't the Prince of
Prince
Egypt.
of
Yeah.
Egypt. So yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I remember him having an Egyptian girlfriend, and that's kind of end of my
Hmm.
memories
Hmm.
of that movie. Of course, I remember the love plot.
You love love.
I love love. And that's what the Book of Exodus is about, baby. So here's a quick recap of this was a longer reading too than the Luke and Mark Christmas story
Mm.
readings.
Yeah.
Um, so end of Genesis, they've moved into Egypt, the sons of Jacob. Yeah. Uh, but now this Pharaoh, he doesn't know Joseph. He's Mariah Carey. I don't know her. And he's like, the Israelites are getting too numerous. We got to enslave them because otherwise they're going to side with their enemies or something. They got to be slaves. And so there's as much as he enslaves them, they keep growing. So he goes to these midwives who are named, and I love a named woman in the Bible. Uh, their names are, probably pronouncing them wrong, Pua and Sifra, midwives. And he's like, whenever you're giving birth and there's a son, kill that son. Say, oh, he died. Like, sorry, it was a like a stillbirth. But these two
Mm.
women in parentheses feared God, or maybe we're just like, we don't want to kill babies. And they said, oh, actually, every time we come, like, unlike the Egyptian women, the Hebrew women are so vigorous. So they give birth before we even get there. So like the son's born, it's too late. We can't kill them. We can't do that.
Mm.
And
Sorry.
it said God looked kindly on them. And I'm like, yeah, these women are smart. Uh, and so then he's like, I guess we're just going to throw all the sons in the Nile. Whenever a son is born, we'll let the daughters be born. No sons. Uh, so a daughter of Levi's tribe, which would be the priest tribe, uh, puts a baby in a basket in the reeds of the
Oh, hold
river.
on. You skipped a thing, which is that a son of the Levi's tribe married a daughter of the Levi's tribe.
Yes.
So they're related,
Yes. Same
probably. Most
tribe.
likely.
Yeah. Cousins, second cousins.
Different
Uh,
rules. Different rules
different
back then.
rules. And then
Hmm.
this is actually something that comes up later is that like to define exactly how numerous the Israelites were and the size of the tribes is like the Bible will give numbers, but those numbers don't really line up historically. So,
Oh,
like
interesting.
a tribe could be pretty big. So,
I had questions about the numbers in this story as well, so we'll get there
Yes.
when we get there.
Yeah. So she puts the baby in a basket down the river, goes to the Pharaoh's daughter, who knows the baby's a Hebrew, but takes pity on him. And the sister, at this point unnamed, who's watching, is like, "Hey, do you want like a Hebrew midwife who could look after him?" And the Pharaoh's daughter's like, "Yeah, that'd be great. I'll pay her to be the nurse." And so the mom, Moses's mom, because she names him Moses, the Pharaoh's daughter, gets to like be his nurse and gets to be paid to be his nurse. And she names him Moses because she drew him out of the water. Uh, so Moses later he grows up and he sees a Hebrew being beaten by a slave master, kills the Egyptian slave master, buries him in the sand. Is like nobody saw that. But then next day he goes out, he sees these Hebrews fighting, and he's like, "Stop the violence!" And they're like, "Who made you prince and judge? Are you gonna kill us like you killed that Egyptian?" And he's like, "People know." So the Pharaoh seeks to kill him. So he flees, ends up in Midian. That's a few confusing verses to read, but he helps the daughters of priest Jethro with shepherding, either protecting them from shepherds or just helping them with the task. I had trouble. I read those lines a few times, and it was like I'm missing something. Um, but he helps them. They take him in, and he marries the daughter Zipporah. So he has one of seven daughters. And they have a son named Gershom. But God, meanwhile, he's hearing the people of Israel cry out, and he remembers his promise to Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. So he's like, all right. Meanwhile, Moses has been a shepherd, and the angel of the Lord strikes a fire, the burning bush. And Moses is like, let me check this out. It's a bush that's burning, but not consumed. And then God speaks to him. And God's like, I heard my people cry. I've heard them suffer. Go free them and take them to a land flowing with milk and honey, Canaan, the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and the Jebusites. And he's like, well, if they ask me who sent me, who do I say? And he's like, I am who am, which is where you get the phrase Yahweh, which some will use to say, like, that's God's true name. And others don't like to use that name because it's so sacred. And that's related to the term Jehovah to describe God. You get like Jehovah's Witnesses. Um, and he's like, I'm going to stretch out my hands and smite Egypt with all the wonders I will do in it. And I also make the Egyptians find favor with you. Like he's like, they're going to give you their jewelry and stuff. Uh, so he shows him like how to turn his staff into a snake, and he also explains the spell to turn the Nile into blood. It's like you're gonna throw this dust in, it's gonna turn to blood. This is a spell component spell. Uh, and he's like, I can't talk well. And he's like, who made man's mouth? Who made like the deaf and the dumb? Like, that's on me. That's me. I made man's mouth. And I'm like, you sure you want to take credit for that one? And he's like, but also your brother Aaron is a good talker. He'll help you. So Moses leaves Midian with his wife and sons, and God is like,
Wait, hold on.
yes,
So in my version, is this also in your version? God says, I am going to harden Pharaoh's heart.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
I
That is something that I definitely remember.
I was upset by this.
Yeah, he
I think
said,
I don't like this.
I think about it every time I watch this movie.
he's like,
I have so many things about this movie. Okay.
he says, I will harden his heart. And then say, like, when you threaten my firstborn son, Israel, I'll threaten your firstborn son. Yeah. Also,
This is a different God from New Testament God. Different God.
Mm.
On the
Okay.
way, we said we wouldn't talk about politics. Doesn't mean we talk about religion. And so on the way, God tries to kill Moses, but his
Yes.
wife.
What is going on there?
It's very like, and we're just moving on. Like, I have a lot of questions.
Yes.
So,
I thought I read it wrong.
Yeah, I like remembered. Oh, some bandits were there. They're like, nope. But his wife circumcises their son and throws the foreskin at Moses's feet. And they're like, you're a bloody bridegroom. And God's like, we're cool. And Moses is like, I love my wife. Uh, And then he's a wife guy. And then God tells Aaron, meet up with your brother. He's showing up in Egypt. Moses and Aaron meet up. And they're like, Pharaoh, let us go into the wilderness to offer sacrifice to the Lord. And he's like, I don't know this, Lord. You're probably lying. I'm going to summarize a lot because there's a lot of this back and forth that fills up a lot of chapters. He's like, I know what you're talking about. You're probably lying. So what I'm going to do is make the Hebrews get their own straw to make bricks, and they're going to have higher brick quotas. And the foreman is like, how are we supposed to do this? And it's like, that's your problem. You have too much time if you're saying we need time to go sacrifice to the Lord. And so the Israelites are like, Moses, screw you. And also they are like, by the way, Moses and Aaron are in their 80s. Uh,
Mhm.
Yes.
I just
This
feel like
was
no.
no, no, no. This was also before weren't like Abraham and Isaac's names and like ages also listed at some point in the Bible, and they lived like 200 plus years. It's
Yeah, and you have like
like
Right.
Methuselah who lives a really long time,
Yeah.
and
yeah, so
I
either people lived longer or the way the
calendars.
time was measured was
calendar.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in their 80s, they're respectively 35 and 37. Right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, or it's just like today, and the oldest people are in charge of everything, and they make great
mm,
choices.
hey,
Uh,
we said we weren't talking about politics.
um, on the way, wait, so where are we? So now we get to the snake off scene. You know, he turns his rod into a snake. The sorcerers of Egypt can turn their rods into snake. Moses' snake eats their snakes, but everyone's like, whatever. The Pharaoh's heart still hardened.
I do
Um,
think it's interesting that the the Bible is like, yeah, the other people can also do this using their own powers. Like,
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, that's even if you look at the wording of the first commandment, you shall have no other gods before me. It's from
yeah.
a time of a polytheistic worldview. So this idea that even if
Hmm.
maybe you have your God, who's your God, that doesn't necessarily mean these other gods aren't out there.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And then he
It's like
does,
it's like the test of faith that like we can do this, but they can also do it, but we're true. They're
yeah.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people would say, oh, it's because the other gods are like demons or devils.
Right.
Or, you know, Cinderella's mother would say, I believe in everything. So famously, my worldview. So, you know, maybe they're all out there feuding. So also we get turning the water of the Nile to blood, killing all the fish, R.A.P. Nemo, and
They
all the
found him washed up on the shore dead.
yeah, all the ponds, all the everything, blood. Um, and then the next up is the frog plague off. They're summoning. He summons frogs, and then Pharaoh is like, "My sorcerers can do it too." They summon the frogs, and then he's like, "This is too many frogs." The frogs are everywhere. So then Moses is like, "God, get rid of the frogs." So the frogs die, but they're smelly. They're putting heaps of dead frogs around, and everything's smelly. And Pharaoh is like, JK, I know I said if you got rid of the frogs, I'd let you go, but I won't. So then Aaron strikes the ground with dust, which turns into gnats. And the sorcerers, the Egyptian magicians, they can't pull this one off. They haven't learned that
Mm,
spell.
no access to bugs.
Yeah, they don't have bug magic. Frog magic, yes. And then the Pharaoh is like, fine, like you can go, but just do it here. Sacrifice to the Lord here. And the Egyptian there Moses is like, the Egyptians will hate this though. Our sacrifice will be abominable to them. They're gonna try and stone us. We have to go at least 3 days out. Um, and Pharaoh is like, okay, sure. Moses removes the flies. Pharaoh's like, JK, no, you can't go. Then we get the cattle plague, and then all the cattle are dying. Then Moses and Aaron throw dust into a kiln and make boils on man and beast and the magicians. They get boils on them. Uh, and God's like, I want Pharaoh to know that I would have killed you all, but I want you to know that I'm the most powerful and have you live to know it. But you're still exalting yourself over my people. So I'm going to send hail and fire in the sky, which is often how, like, that's lightning. I think it's often
Hmm.
interpreted as like balls of fire, but I think that's how lightning is described a lot in olden days. Extra olden days. If medieval times is olden days, we're talking mega olden.
The most
The
olden.
most olden, Old Testament, if you will. So some people, Pharaoh refuses, and some Egyptians hear about this, and they send their cattle and servants inside for this hail. They're like, we don't want to deal with it. But other people are like, we don't care about this God, and they get hailed on. And God says he's making sport of the Egyptians. Um, the
That's
Egy-
crazy.
the Egyptians are like, Pharaoh, come on, man, just let them go and do their sacrifice. Like this is ruining our lives. And
They're
Oh,
fed
he's
up at this
interesting.
point. They're fed up.
yeah,
The Egyptians know that their leader is
Yeah.
yeah,
one of the people, one of the conspirators causing this.
yes.
Yeah.
Uh, and he's like, okay, go, but just the men, no kids, no cattle. And he's like, because obviously you're tricking me. And Moses is like, it's all of us, or you get locusts. And he's like, well, not, I'm not letting all of you go. So the locusts eat all the plants. There's nothing green left. Um, then Moses makes Egypt dark for 3 days. No one can see anything. And Pharaoh is like, fine, you can go to sacrifice with the kids, but no cattles or flock. And Moses is literally like, no hoof left behind. He uses the word hoof in my version. He's like, the hooves are coming with us. And Pharaoh's like, get out of my face or you'll die. Bye.
I thought this plague was really interesting because it also says that the Hebrews had light. So while in Egypt proper was in darkness, the Israelites were in light. And there's a bunch of like documentaries out there trying to explain scientifically what each of the plagues were. I have never seen any of them tackle this one. And I just think it's really
Mm,
interesting.
I'm saying big ass cloud.
mm.
Maybe. Although I still feel like their ambient light is I
Yeah.
think it's like D&D 5e darkness. But I
Mm,
don't know. I
yeah.
don't know how
Hmm.
how you get that to work scientifically.
I think
Hmm.
people love a hyperbole. And I think maybe
Yeah.
assuming these plagues happened, which we'll get to, uh, big ass cloud, it's real dark. And
Yeah.
then people are like, you couldn't see anything, man. And it's like, you could see a little bit. It was just like dark all day. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe
Uh,
like a cloud and fog so
yeah,
then you
double
can
whammy.
see
Mm,
what's in front of you, like
Yeah.
maybe something like that, or
yeah.
smoke or something like that.
Mm.
So yeah, Pharaoh's like, get on my face or you'll die. And I should do a quote, for this one. Oh, reading from the book of Exodus. And Moses said, thus says the Lord, about midnight I will go forth in the midst of Egypt, and all the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sits upon his throne, even to the firstborn of the maidservant who is behind the mill, and all the firstborn of the cattle. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there has never been, nor shall nor ever shall be again. But against any of the people of Israel, either man or beast, not a dog shall growl, that you may know that the Lord makes a distinction between the Egyptians and Israel. So basically, everyone, firstborn of everyone in Egypt is going to die. And he gives them, I'm going to pass over your homes, pass over. This is where we're getting that. So he's like, kill a lamb, put the blood on the doors, sprinkle the blood on the doors, eat the lamb roasted with unleavened bread and bitter herbs, have your loins girded. You're ready to travel. Sandals on. Anyone who eats anything leavened, cut out of Israel, not one of us. And so they follow these instructions, and the Lord goes through. I know sometimes people say the angel of death, but the Bible says the Lord. He smites the firstborn of all the Egyptians, but passes over the homes marked with the blood.
My version said the destroyer.
Ooh,
Ooh,
new character
okay.
Yeah.
unlocked.
I
uh,
mean, it could be either.
Man, the Bible in the year goes hard.
Yeah.
uh, I just got that. So Pharaoh sent them away like, go, take it all. And the Israelites ask their Egyptian neighbors for jewelry and wealthy stuff and supplies, and they get it. Thus, the Israelites will despoil the Egyptians. And this is brought up a few times that God is going to cause the Egyptians to see the Israelites with favor and give them stuff.
Hmm.
And we get more discussion of Passover. Passover is for Israelites, not for foreigners, but slaves can be once circumcised can join, but not hired servants or sojourners. But a stranger can join if he circumcises himself and all his family. Everyone in Israel has got to celebrate this. Also, all firstborns, men or cattle, sacred to God. So you see, obviously, establishing this very long-standing tradition of Passover that still exists today. Um, Also, God decides we're not going to go near the Philistines, lest war scare people away, but we're going to go to the Red Sea. Also, they take Joseph's bones with them uh, because of a prophecy. And then before them, by day is a pillar of cloud guiding them. It's a pillar of fire at night. And we get them at the Red Sea. Pharaoh and his army show up, and the Israelites say to Moses, were there not enough graves in Egypt? Like, so you had to take us to die here. But the cloud gets in between them. Moses puts his staff over the sea, parts, they cross. Pharaoh and his soldiers go in after them. They're swallowed and killed by the sea, the chariots and the charioteers. And then Moses and Miriam, this is the first time Miriam is named. They sing a song about it. And Miriam is called a prophetess, and she leads the women in dance, forming what you could argue is the first Jewish musical girl group. Um, and then he's like, if you keep my statutes, God, that's the big he. He's like, if you keep my statutes, I won't do to you.
Capital Him.
Yeah, as Gaga would say.
As Lady Gaga.
If you keep my statutes, I won't do to you what I did to the Egyptians and send disease. I'll give you healing. And that's what I read of Exodus.
Did you read chapter 15?
15 is the song.
Yes. I did
Yeah,
not read the song. So
I did.
Was it good? Does it slap?
Uh, I don't know. I'd have to hear it set to music. I'd have to hear the arrangement.
It's
Maybe a Carly
all
Rae
about the
Jepsen
arrangement.
arrangement. Yeah.
Harley, hello.
Yeah. After you're done with the 10 Things I Hate About You musical,
There you
we
go.
got Prince of Egypt Part 2 waiting.
Hmm.
does your version have the number of the Hebrews? So
Yeah.
like 600,000 Hebrews
Yes.
and also women and children.
Yes.
Oh,
And
interesting. So they count the men,
Yes.
and then
And not the
and then
women and
everyone
children.
else.
That's a huge number of people. And then the amount of military, like the charioteers that
yeah.
Pharaoh sends, numbers 600. So each one of them will
Hmm.
have had to kill 1,000 people in order to eliminate the Israelites.
Yes. So
Well, just the
This,
men.
yeah, I know.
it's
So,
the numbers, that would be a cataclysmic population event for Egypt that would probably show somewhere in the records. That does
okay.
not, and it's hard. They say it's hard to believe a fighting force of that size would have been scared of Egypt or the Philistines.
Hmm.
So that's where
Yeah.
some questions about the numbers come up. Before we get into the history, I wanted to touch briefly on Passover. It's traditional for Jewish families to gather on the first night of Passover, um, sometimes the first two nights, for a special dinner called a Seder. derived from the Hebrew word for order or arrangement. The table is set with fine china and silverware. It's like a nice meal. And during this meal, the story of Exodus from Egypt is retold using a special text called the Haggadah. A total of 4 cups of wine are consumed. There are a lot of rules about like what you eat. Rules is not the right word. It's like traditions, like things that you do. Like you eat this, you have that. You're obviously unleavened bread. It's a big tradition. It's a huge holiday in the Jewish calendar.
Mm-hmm.
And the Seder meal has like typically like 10 to 12 steps. It's a big part of Jewish faith tradition. Um, Obviously, there's a lot of variation depending on what branch of Judaism or your area or your family's particular practice. There's a lot of encouraging of children to ask questions because in the book of Exodus, it is like, oh, in the future, tell your children this. Like it says that. So it's like this is the act of keeping the story alive with your children, and honoring it with your family. I know when we had a Jewish professor at BU, he would often bring like wine and crackers and like Passover treats when we had class run Passover.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is the story of Exodus real? We
Hmm.
know like Cinderella's mother, I believe in everything, but eh, um, most scholars think no. Again, I am honest. I'm using Wikipedia because the amount of books I'd have to read to get a concrete understanding of this. Most scholars think no. The Israelite people seem to have emerged in Canaan from the Canaanite population. Obviously, this is a hotly contested issue. A lot of people have thoughts and opinions. Archaeological and written evidence does not lean towards the plagues existing or the Israelites living near Mount Sinai. Also, I didn't know this. We're not sure where Mount Sinai is. There are mountains people think might be Mount Sinai, but that is not a for sure thing. Um,
Interesting. Hmm.
yeah, not to be too millennial, but I was today years old. Technically yesterday days old.
Hmm.
Now, maybe this could be a cultural memory. There's a lot of like stories are derived from cultural memories and formed and shaped, obviously long before they're written down. It could be a combination of things. The Hyksos were a Semitic people who gained rule of Egypt and took control and then were later exiled. There's a story of Akhenaten who tried to make Egypt monotheistic to the sun god Aten. Freud is like Moses definitely worked for that guy. I don't know if there's really any evidence for that, but Freud loves saying things. There's evidence to a lot of Semitic people traveling in and out of Egypt at various times, various nomadic groups. So the idea of someone entering and leaving Egypt, not crazy. Even the route they take could be connected to like a sort of underground railroad of like slave escapees. This was a common route in Egyptian records that people who were escaping slavery would take. Um, Moses and Aaron and other names in the story are Egyptian in origin. The numbers of like timing doesn't always add up. The numbers of the people don't add up, as Alyssa pointed out. Uh, the timing is, and the numbers are often more like numerological and mystical than historical. And we talked about that a bit in the Journey to Bethlehem movie episode and
Hmm.
like the timing people give for like the birth of Christ. Um, this was most likely written in the first millennium BC, which or BCE, which can be confusing to me. I don't know about you, but to me because it's reverse order. So first millennium is closer to like AD than second millennium.
Right.
Yeah,
And
Hmm.
which one was it written in?
first millennium.
Okay.
So the millennium closer to the end, the last BC millennium, the end of
Is
Got
the
it.
era,
there, but that's when it was written.
most likely.
Is there a guess by historians at how old the story is?
I
Oh, so
think
by the time it was written, how old was it at
Yeah.
that
yeah,
point? Yeah.
that will get
Interesting.
into phylogenetics, which I know they've used for fairy tales. I don't know if they've gotten to using that for the Bible. I'm sure that's in the works.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Tune into phylogenetics. I'm not an expert. Um, but that means Beauty and the Beast sometimes is tales old as time. So this was suggested to have been written in the Babylonian captivity when the Israelites were living in under the Babylonian Empire as like a mythological founding tale for the people, as like to be like, this is our origin story, this is where we came from, this is why we have these traditions. Details given about Egypt in the story make sense in a first millennium context, but don't make sense in a second millennium context, which is when it was set. So it was written as like a
Right.
period piece, but the details
Mm.
match with the current period, not that period, especially because in the second millennium, Egypt ruled Canaan, where they were going. So it would be
Oh.
fleeing Egypt to
Mm.
Egypt. But that could also be maybe there's the idea of rebelling against Egyptian domination, and that can lead to the cultural memory that creates the Exodus story. It also gives the vibe of someone trying to set this in Egypt and having some familiarity with Egypt, but not accuracy. Like, oh, they were afraid the Israelites would side with invaders coming from this region, but Egypt was under not under the threat at the time the story is set, but it was at the time the story was written, or
Mm.
putting the baby in the reeds of the Nile. Crocodiles famously hanging out
Hang
there.
out there.
That's
Yes.
not where you would put a baby. Um, and
Mm-mm.
there's maybe other stories that have that detail set in other regions of the Near East, and then they took that story and set it in Egypt. There's also an anti-Jewish, there's a few like Greek tale that was like, yeah, these were all these lepers and gross impure people who caused plagues in Egypt, and they were led by this guy who would be called Moses, and they're sent away for being nasty. And people are most likely like, this was just like racism, or like
Mm.
people taking the Exodus story and being using it to like make fun of them. Uh, so this story of Exodus is a combo of cultural memory, mythology, origin tales, some history. Um, I grew up often hearing there was a theory that the plagues were designed to mock specific Egyptian gods, like Heket, the frog goddess, or Ra, the
Mhm.
sun god, or the sky goddess Nut, or the cow goddess Hathor, or Happy the Nile god. But this all seems very vague to me. And like someone after the fact was like, wow, that's a cool idea. But like some of them are like stretches to attach it to whatever god they're trying to say. And like the Egyptian pantheon varied in popularity and influence throughout Egypt's very long history. So it's
Mhm.
like it's hard to be like, yeah, these were he was really going after Nut in this one, you know.
Yeah.
Uh but while we're here, shout out to our Gods of Egypt episode where we
Shout out.
say, come let us a
I'm
million
set.
times.
Yep. 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 Yep.
One of our oldest episodes, I turned it on to be like, maybe I should listen to it, and was like, I can't.
Yeah.
But we talked a lot about
That was
Egypt.
our BCE
Yeah, it
for
was.
this podcast.
And we were talking about the different Egyptian gods. So if you want more details of like the heavy hitters, check that one out. But I was like, well, we're here and we got this chant listing all these gods. Let's touch base on who they are. We have Mut, she's a creator and sky goddess. Nut, sky goddess. Khnum, ram god of the Nile and creation. Ptah, god of creation. Nephthys, funeral goddess. Nekhbet, vulture goddess of Upper Egypt. Sobek, protective crocodile god of strength and fertility. Sekhmet, lion goddess of war. Sokar, a god of death and resurrection. Selket, scorpion goddess. Reshpu, war and plague. Wajet, snake goddess. Eye of Ra goddess. Anubis, funeral jackal god who judges the dead. Anukis, goddess of the Nile, flood, and protector of the southern border. Sheshmu, a god of ointments, perfume, and wine, also with festivities, dancing, and singing. Also a god of blood, who would slaughter and dismember other deities. Meshken, a goddess of childbirth, who breathes the ka, which is part of the soul, into children at birth. Hemset was the goddesses, is a group of goddesses of fate and protection. Tefnut, the goddess of moisture. Heket,
Oh,
yeah,
that's a tough one.
tough one. Heket was a frog goddess of fertility and the last moments of childbirth, also resurrection. Mafdet was a cheetah goddess of protection and justice, and Ra, famously
Rah.
falcon god of the sun, kind of the big deal of the pantheon. So Egypt famously has a very big pantheon. And we don't have a lot of mythology around a lot of these figures. There's like
Mm.
the Isis, Osiris, Horus, like that kind of central narrative. And then like Maftet, I don't know what's going on with her, you know.
Well, you just said that like the pantheon changed throughout the Egyptian history. Do we know if all of the ones listed
Were they
were actually from
concurrent?
the same time period?
Right.
Probably not. I
Okay.
mean,
Likely not.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna
That's
say from what I
interesting.
read, no. I think it's like they wouldn't necessarily die out. They'd still have their temple up and running, or maybe they'd be more local. Like people would be like, they wouldn't like erase their statue, be like, Wadjet canceled.
That has happened in history before. Like
Yes, in Egypt.
entire if there was a ruler that had a specific god or goddess that they liked, and then the next person didn't like that ruler, they would just like erase everything.
Yeah.
Um
So
other another random question that like crossed my mind is you said the fates were a group.
yeah, that's
Is
a
that consistent through a lot of different pantheons? Because
I
that's
think so.
interesting.
Now, I don't know where the Egyptians fall on the Indo-European language pantheon tree. I don't think they are in that group, but there definitely is some connection. And in the Hellenic period, which is like when Cleopatra was up and kicking, that's when like a lot of the Egyptian gods were identified with Greek gods,
Mm,
and like their
okay.
temples were comboed. So there's that going on. And that also means, from my understanding and what I like, a lot of the gods that were popular at the time the Greeks took over and became identified with the Greek gods are the ones whose stories we have, because they were then translated into Greek, and then they could
Okay.
be like passed on and become part of popular culture throughout all that time. Whereas like maybe Hecat's story was like amazing and like she's a feminist frog goddess icon, but like no one wrote it down, or like by the time the Greeks came in, she was like not that popular. She was millennial cringe. She was second millennial cringe. And the Greeks didn't know anything about her. They're like, oh, what's that? They're like, oh, she's a frog goddess, like whatever. My aunt likes her, embarrassing. So that's the lore and the historicity of or not. Like Egypt is old and the world is old. So even when we talk about like Jesus, that is much more recent than like this stuff. Like Cleopatra, Julius Caesar, Mark Antony, like we have a lot more records of everything going on then. And then when you get back this far, it really is like
Yeah.
we're deep in the reeds.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're crocodiles.
And there's a crocodile eating us. And that crocodile is called religious propaganda that affects how we view ancient history.
Yeah.
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 Because that's part of the reason I'm like, if I get a book, like, do I have to figure out who wrote it and what their priorities are? And everyone
Right.
obviously
Yeah,
has an agenda,
probably.
but there's a much more loaded agenda with the Book of Exodus than like leprechauns.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this movie,
Hmm.
talk about a banger opening.
Oh my gosh. And
Yeah.
you're in front of the shot right before the big drop after the song is ending. But yeah, we start with
Deliver
the
us.
we start with
Hmm.
slavery.
Yep.
Yeah.
We start with brute. Now this is an animated movie that, you know,
Yes. If
to
you
our modern
couldn't tell.
audiences, yeah, if you couldn't tell, to our modern audiences, we would be like animation, kids, yes. And yes, I think this movie is for
Definitely
Families.
saw
yes,
it as a kid, and it didn't strike me as being too scary. Like, I don't remember being afraid of this movie, but there is in no world where I would label this a kids movie.
right.
This
That's what I'm
movie is
saying.
for everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
And but where we start is literally lashing on
Yes.
bodies. Like that's
Yeah.
the where this movie starts. And it's like, because I think about I was young when I first saw this movie, and I don't know whether or not a conversation was had about like what was even going on, or if I was just watching it and being like, but yeah, like this, I always forget when I go to watch this movie how intense it starts. And again, I've watched this movie dozens of times.
I did get scared of this movie as a kid.
Same.
I was a very sensitive child, and I would like very imagine what if this was happening to me? How would I feel? I think a good example is Pirates of the Caribbean, which I was older when that one came out. I would have to go in the other room because when there's a shot of an upset child when the pirates are burning the town, and I
Hmm.
was too worried about the fate of that child to continue with the movie.
Because you're like, that's me.
Yeah, I was like, I don't, okay, what the fuck is going on? Where's this kid?
Is that
Is
like
the
the
kid
screaming
okay?
3-year-old?
Yeah. Yeah, that was
Yes.
upsetting.
Hmm.
And that is not like, I mean, that's also, I would say, a family movie, but that's not for young kids. That's like
Right.
Yeah.
that's, this is definitely for all ages. But I do remember, like, this is later, but there's like they show like someone's hair being pulled, a woman's hair being pulled. And
Yeah.
I'm imagining, oh, how would that feel on my scalp? Or like the boils, like,
Mm.
how would that feel? And there's like shots of children, like, watching the people with the boils. And like, and I appreciate that about the movie that it doesn't shy away and it lets
Hmm.
like as much as it was upsetting for me to imagine that, I think it was like a good developmental experience to imagine
Mm.
like not just seeing violence as impersonal, but like, oh, what if that was me? Like that would
And
hurt. That's scary. What if someone did that to my mom? Like what if,
you see different ages and you see different genders.
yeah.
Hmm.
So like you see little kids involved, you see older, like old folks, like gray
Hmm.
hair folks.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
yeah.
actually one of my favorite things about this movie is that the extras, so to speak, are all clearly developed characters
Hmm.
in sense
Yeah.
of like design, and they're all different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like we start with the setup of, okay, here's what the people, the Hebrews are dealing with in slavery. This is the power dynamic. Um, and we see, I've already forgotten the mother's name, but we see baby Miriam, baby Aaron, baby Moses, and their mom fleeing the area.
Yeah, as the soldiers go through the houses to kill the babies, we
Hmm.
even see a soldier walking towards a cradle with a sword.
Yeah. Yep.
It's it's
It's
intense.
intense. Very
This
intense.
this didn't scare me as a child. The dream sequence scared me.
Yes,
That
that scene
that
scared me.
scared me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I mean I can't access what I felt watching this at such a young age, except for that sequence specifically. But as an adult, I think about how I watched it as a kid, and I'm like, I'm surprised I don't have any memories of that, but maybe it was so intense that my little brain just like didn't know how to process it.
I think watching this as an adult is more impactful on me than it ever was
Hmm.
watching it as a child.
Same.
Yeah, I think you have a little, as an adult, you kind of understand what's going on more. I think it's like, oh, this is a Bible story as a kid, and I experienced so many of those, and like, not, I wasn't numbed to the violence, but like, they were like my child disaster movies. Like,
Mm,
I would
Yeah.
play Sodom and Gomorrah.
that's so
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, so when you grow up with the Bible, you learn all the Bible stories and they're not pretty.
And they tell
No.
you a lot of the Old Testament ones the most as a kid.
Yeah,
Yes.
because I mean, they are kind of the most exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like Noah's Ark is like a very like cutesy thing, but if you really peel it back, spoilers, I guess, for is it Evan
Spoilers for,
Almighty
oh, I think we are
or
gonna say spoilers for the book,
Spoils for
the
for
For
Judges?
Noah.
Noah's Ark.
I was
Yeah.
like,
If you
Like
they
haven't
make it.
heard this
Spoilers, they make it.
1,000+ year old story yet.
Spoilers,
where
actually, only some make it. Let me
yeah,
be clear.
God floods the world and kills everyone. But it's like,
Can't wait
yay,
till we do Bruce and
animals.
Evan Almighty. Oh my God.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to.
Yeah. And so it is a that's an interesting one. but yeah, it's like you're just used to these stories and you don't really step back to be like, wait, what?
Hmm.
Um, we so like the baby put in the river, she's singing this song's just I can't get, we'd be here all day talking
I
about
get
this song.
goosebumps every time
Yeah.
I hear it.
She's the baby is swept along the river. You get crocodiles. Moo Dang the hippo is making an appearance. They're snapping at this
Dang.
baby. There's oars, but the baby gets swooshed into the palace where the queen picks up the baby, uh, ignores her son, is like, who seems old
And
enough to remember.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
It's like this
maybe
is his
maybe at
origin
your
story.
age, Cullen, because you remember things from like 4 or 3 or something.
Yeah.
But
I would not remember that.
even if he doesn't remember, this is like his first instance where Moses is given, I don't want to say favoritism, but is treated
Attention.
softer. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. He's given
Attention. Yeah.
attention other than Ramses. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's his first experience with science. So,
Yeah, and she's
Hmm.
like, I'm gonna name you Moses. And Miriam is like, I have a song, I have a prayer, you're gonna come back and save us. I'm manifesting that. She's a manifestation queen.
vision board.
Yeah.
Yeah. She vision boarded a whole societal upheaval. And she did
I
it.
Yeah.
want to point out just like the amazing art in this movie, but
Yep.
specifically in this sequence. Um, the combination of CG and 2D animation here
Stunning.
is
Yeah.
absolutely beautifully done. And for when the movie was made, like it still holds up. It's
Yep.
fabulous.
And I think the more I watch this movie, the more I appreciate its artistic fidelity, not
Yeah.
just because of AI slop existing, but just because of the evolution of animation. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like knowing, and I think from you is how I learned the more technical stuff about the animation of this film that I didn't fully understand and now have a much deeper appreciation. So thank you. But that like it's you're right, it holds up so well. Like it's everything that I'm looking at behind us is gorgeous, except for mine, it's a little fuzzy. But like the colors and just gorgeous. So good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the movie, like, I think beautifully animated in general. I think the backgrounds and the VFX, like the CGI, or is
Yeah.
where this movie is top tier. I
Mm-hmm.
hate to criticize. I think the character animation is like, okay, it's not bad. I'm not like taken out, but it's not like if I compare with like Disney at the time, I wouldn't say the people are as strong, but I would say they look unique and it doesn't.
Rude, rude.
I'm saying it. I'm
No,
saying it. I would
I
say
don't
that
agree.
I do like that they have very unique designs though, and as much as it's in the kind of Disney family, it's not copycat. Like they have a unique look. Um and but I think the backgrounds just like are
Hmm.
so amazing and do
Mm-hmm.
outclass a lot of
Mm-hmm.
what Disney was doing at the time. And this isn't to
Yeah.
like trash studios. I'm just like, this is like my like analysis, but like because all the people on all those were very talented, but like just like the when we see like Egypt through the window when the pharaoh is confronting his sons, and then we are
Mm-hmm.
back in the same throne room and we see
Mm-hmm.
how it's evolved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The compositions, the color schemes based on mood and based on location, scale, the use of scale is fantastic. I
Yeah.
haven't seen like a better animated movie that used scale in the same way. Um and I love the character designs and the character animations. What are
Yep.
you talking about?
I'm just
Yeah, I do
saying.
too.
We can all have our opinions, but mine's right. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe you'll send a plague at me.
Watch out for the locust.
Watch out for the locust. I'm gonna see a bug tomorrow and be like, oh my God. Uh,
Alyssa.
so then we cut ahead to we get this chariot race between
Boys will be boys.
boys will be boys. Speaking of races, like not racial,
Got it.
race. Like I'm in a car, I'm charioting, yeah, my
Mhm.
motions, yeah. Uh I have this core memory of playing Mario Kart with my siblings after watching this movie. We were in battle mode in Block Fort, and my brother was like
Okay.
winning, winning. We couldn't beat him. And so I was a bomb. You know how when you die, you become a bomb and you can blow people up.
Hmm.
I was running around as a bomb in Block Fort singing Deliver Us because Deliver Us from my brother's victory streak. Uh, so whenever we
That's
hear
amazing.
Deliver Us, we have my family has that association.
Love
Um,
that. Love
yeah,
that. Yeah,
but
they're racing through the streets of Egypt.
the construction
Uh
sites
Mm-hmm.
causing
yeah.
mass
Because
chaos.
bantering back and forth, just shouting at each other like I don't
One of
know.
one of my favorite ones is when Ramses is up on like
Yeah,
a thing on
Yes.
top, and then Moses down here, and Ramses is like, "Face it, you've always looked up to me." Because yeah, but it's not a pretty view, and you see like up his like I'm gonna call it a skirt for lack of a better word. You
yeah.
like see his underwear, and I'm like, that's just comedy.
Beautiful. He's like,
Yeah,
your
it's
ass is
very good.
flat. I don't want to see it.
It's
Uh,
such a good sequence to introduce the relationship of the brothers and the way that they view Egypt and like who they are as people
yeah,
to the
Hmm.
city.
Yes.
Um,
And I think this is where I'm going to just say the thing that it took me being an adult to kind of realize is that much like how the Journey to Bethlehem movie is very much about Mary and Joseph's relationship and how that
yeah,
develops, in that it becomes a very interesting thing that we don't get in the Bible, really. This is a movie about these brothers, which is
mhm.
not really something we get in the Bible. And so it's focusing on a relationship. It's using that really key relationship to show these two sides or to show like just this really interesting dynamic. Um, and yeah, I think this is what sets that up. Is like this is a story about brothers
yeah.
who happen
Mhm.
to be on opposing sides of this other conflict.
It uses the human drama to ground the divine.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
100%. Because otherwise, there would be really no interest in what was going on.
yeah.
You have to have something to latch onto, and that's what you latch onto.
Hmm. Yep.
And it's also a great way to, they highlight this later, like, did you only care about the Hebrews when you realized you were one of us? Because they're trashing all the Hebrews' construction work on
Mm-hmm.
this temple.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
In
they
this, well, I was gonna say it's like you see this, and then you see Moses in um the next scene, but he interacts with like servants and people just like flies. He brushes them
Yes.
off.
yeah,
Um, and it's a really great juxtaposition
Hmm.
of his attitude later on after he finds out who he is.
Hmm.
he's a rich boy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
A
uh
pampered palace brat.
yes.
Oh.
He's so brat. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Moses' brat. So we move to the temple or to the palace after they trash the temple, and the priests are furious. And uh the Pharaoh, Seti, is like, Ramses, you're supposed to be older, you're supposed to be in charge. Like obviously Moses is irresponsible, but you're the problem. Like you need to be the oldest, you're gonna be the morning and evening star. And
Hmm.
Moses is like, this scene just encapsulates the family dynamic so well because Moses is just like, he needs a chance. He can prove himself. He takes everything too serious. He cares. And you get that even though Moses is spoiled and they always go easier on him, you can tell he's like mom's favorite.
Mm-hmm.
He still cares about his brother. And they don't have to, like, I think a weaker movie would say all this directly. Would be like, oh,
Hmm.
you've always been mom's favorite. They don't even really have to say it. You just get it.
Yeah.
It's you have to watch it. You won't be told. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like, the other thing is that Moses also does take the fact that Ramses is going to take on the legacy. He does take that seriously because Ramses takes that seriously and he loves his brother.
Mhm.
Um, and like obviously like that's something he takes into later parts of the film that like he understands the weight that Ramses is holding.
Mhm. And like not you don't only get family dynamics in this scene, you also understand like the history of their family and um how much of Egypt they've built. Like
Yeah.
the actual design of the scene allows you to see the word for
Like the Sphinx, the statue
history.
of his face, the legacy.
Yes, yeah, legacy. That's what I wanted. The
Mhm.
legacy that them like as a line of pharaohs has brought to Egypt, and like the success, the wealth that it's a really great way to set up what's going to fall down.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, Egypt is one of the longest, most powerful, like everyone toots Rome's horn, but like Egypt has like historically for millennia, right? Um, just beautiful, wealthy, powerful. So after this like talk where Moses is like, give him a chance, he goes to comfort Ramesses.
Does
And
he? He's building a water balloon.
yeah, while filling a
Mm.
water balloon to throw on the priest, and then the priest blame Ramses, and he's like, "Well, you're gonna get in trouble anyway," so he dumps
So
more on
dump.
them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, "Yeah, you're always getting me in trouble," but he's there for him.
Hmm.
And you get a parallel of this scene later. Um,
Yes.
uh, and they go to the banquet. They're late. Moses is like, "No one's gonna know. It's fine." They show up late to a banquet where Ramses is being made chief temple administrator architect, like
Prince Regent.
Prince
Yeah,
Regent.
he's Prince Regent, which means
Yeah.
he's in charge of all the temples, which means he's in charge of Hoy and Hotep,
Yeah.
which is hilarious. He just dumped water or wine all over them.
And we get Moses being appointed with a ring as the architect. He's the architect because he's like
Yeah,
second in command.
yeah.
I
And
love this appointment because like he's obviously not an architect. He just tells people like I want bigger doors, and then they're
Yep.
like I don't know if we can do that, but
Hmm.
okay, I
It's like our
guess
sand
so.
budget is running low.
yeah,
Yeah.
Um, and he gets a ring
Mm-hmm.
that is the color blue, and Moses's color is red. Just throwing
yeah.
that out
Mm-hmm.
there.
A little piece of
Mm-hmm.
Ramses.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And we get Hotep bring in a girl stolen from Midian, a desert flower.
Like a
Uh
desert cobra.
because she bites at them and they're like, dance for us. And like because she's for Ramses. He gives her to Moses and he's pulling her like rope that she's tied to, and he lets go because he's like, let me go. He lets go. She falls in the pool of water. Everyone's laughing at her. Mommy disappointed in Moses.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
She does
Hmm.
not like that he's humiliating this woman.
Yep.
No. And she's sent up to his chambers. And you see him come to the chambers, and he's like very nervous, and he opens the curtain, and it's a man, the servant tied up. He sees her escaping with
Great
her.
transition.
Yeah, because
Very
it's
good comedy moment.
Because also
like I'm doing a
the
chest motion.
it's the silhouette of the
Yeah,
Yes,
guy
yeah.
who's like his elbows are the tits.
yeah.
He's sucking in his gut. And then when you reveal what's happening, it's so funny. It hits every time.
Mm-hmm.
And Moses goes out to follow her, and he sees her, and he could get her in trouble with the guards, but he's like, "Oh, there's a man tied up in my room." We used to say
Go
that line
check it
all the
out.
time. Go check it out, and that lets her escape. Uh,
Hmm.
and so they do a great job of portraying Moses as like this spoiled rich kid, but giving him all these like save the cat moments. Like he
Mm-hmm.
takes care of his brother. The people he pranks are annoying. The he is mean to this girl, but then he lets her free.
Hmm.
And
And
Mm-hmm.
he he does feel regret about having done that, and it's because he knows that he disappointed his mom, and so like
yeah,
he feels that regret, and so that's why he feels guilty in having to go. He's like going to talk to her, but it turns out to be the tied up servant. Um, yeah, and he shows compassion for letting her go, and but he kind of like follows her out, and it's like, was his goal to like apologize to her? Like, I don't know, but anyway, he
I
follows
think
her.
she intrigues him because his whole life, everyone just like does whatever he wants.
Yeah. I
True.
think you're
Yeah,
giving him too much credit at this point. I think he just follows her because
I'm a Moses
he just is
stan.
like gonna do it. Yeah. He's a prince. He's impulsive. He's gonna do what he's gonna do and figure it
True.
out later.
Yeah.
True.
Uh, and so he follows her out, and he ends up in like the Israelite neighborhood, and he runs into Miriam and Aaron, and Miriam's like, she jumps to, "Wow, you're back. You came for us." And he's like, "Excuse me, what?
Who are you?
Who are you?" And she's like,
And Aaron's like, she's ill.
she's crazy. And she does not play along. She's like, no, you're my
Like,
brother.
this was on my vision board.
Yeah,
Aaron,
Mm-hmm.
you've seen it.
yeah, my hieroglyph vision board that I carved in the wall.
That's a social media post.
Yeah. And she's like, "Yeah, our mom put you in a river. I saw you got picked up there. You're gonna come save us." And he's like, "You go too far. Don't touch me. Like, you're gonna be punished for this." And Aaron's like, "Please, please." And then she sings the song, the
Lullaby.
lullaby, which we saw Moses humming to himself
Because
earlier.
she she does something that he finds so heinous is she accuses him in his perspective of being a Hebrew. She's like,
Yeah.
you are of my mother. Like
Yeah.
you were born of my mother. Like you are us. Like we are the same.
Yahamet.
Yeah.
Muhammad, yeah. And he's like, but the song is what unsettles him.
Yes. Because
I want
so
you to
we
know
didn't
every time anyone mentions a song, it starts playing in my head.
yep. Hmm.
Yeah.
Because when he's sewing the water balloon, he's whistling it. He's
Yeah.
whistling the lullaby.
Oh yeah.
Great
Yeah.
use of music.
Yeah.
Shout
That
out to
scene
Steven.
has like so much foreshadowing for the rest of the movie because
It-
it's also when Ramses is like, I am single-handedly gonna bring down the Egyptian Empire, and like
yes.
in jest.
Well,
And
because he's
guess
saying,
what?
our father just told me
Mm-hmm.
that I'm going to ruin the dynasty, bring it all down,
Mhm.
like you just said.
Yes, yeah.
So he's saying, our father is recognizing this flaw in me. He called me the weakest link. You
Yeah.
are the
Mm-hmm.
weakest link. Goodbye.
Bonk.
And and yeah, like this scene is such a heavy hitter, but it feels so light.
It
Yeah.
Like
does.
it's you don't realize how much weight and how much they put into that scene until you see the whole
Mm-hmm.
movie and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
the movie is
excellent writing.
incredibly well written and
Yeah.
like super tight.
Yes. Very
Hmm.
economical
Yeah.
considering it's sort of adapted from a 3 hour and 40-minute movie
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and is like, we're doing all this in 90 with
Yep, a tight
songs.
90
Yeah.
with songs, which the songs are heavy hitters too,
Yeah.
carrying a
Mm-hmm.
lot of weight.
Speaking of musical bangers,
Oh yeah.
All I Ever Wanted. Uh,
So good.
It's yeah,
That
it's
one is not on the soundtrack. I don't know why. I'm angry about it.
The soundtrack for this movie, like the release of it, is strange. Because
Yeah.
they had like three, they had like a Nashville country version, they had like a gospel version, and they had like the movie version. And
Yeah.
it's like it's just you think it's like, okay, easy. I'm gonna find the soundtrack, it's gonna have all the songs, whatever, and not easy for Prince of Egypt.
Mm-mm.
You know what else isn't
They
easy to
didn't have
find?
it in the movie release version
You know
because
what
we
else is
used
hard
to
to
own it.
find? The Anastasia movie
Really?
soundtrack. I couldn't find it on like
Uh,
music streaming. It's not on Apple Music. And I'm like, so does it exist? It's only the Broadway. And I'm like, I don't want to listen to the Broadway. I want to listen to, I
yeah.
honestly don't know any of the people who sing in
Liz
that movie.
Calloway.
Sure. But anyway, yeah, so this song is Moses coming to terms with, well, not coming to terms with, he's like,
In
okay, I guess,
denial.
yes, he's like,
Yeah.
denial,
Duh, nah.
deny.
Oh, behind me.
Uh, but yeah, so like, yeah, he's in denial and he's like, it's like he's thinking about his past and he's like, has everything kind of felt off? I don't really know, but I want this. This is
He's
who I
like,
am. This is my
this is
home.
my
He's like, but
home.
is
Yeah.
it? And then he has the scariest dream known to man.
So scary. It's terrifying how like viscerally I really despise the hieroglyphs
Wow.
paintings
Hieroglyph hater.
in this specific depiction.
In this sequence because so it's that part is disturbing the way they use that art because that art with it being
Yes.
flat and
Yes.
um
In the movement specifically, there's like
it's very
it's jerky and weird.
yes and then the content of the dream is also very disturbing because he's like it's like
Yes.
he's remembering his escape but also he's he's himself watching it. And these are stories that he's known about, so he grew up
Mhm.
with, the stories that are on the walls of his
Well,
home,
he didn't
of
know
the
this
babies
one.
being
He asked his dad, "Is this true?" And he's like, "They're getting too numerous." And that's when
I
he
right.
feel
says they
like
were
It's not that
only
he didn't
slaves.
know. I think it's just that he
yeah,
never thought about it critically
I
because they
kind of
were
got
just
that feeling
slaves.
too.
Yeah.
Like the
It's
same way that he has never looked at the slaves and servants around him, he probably also never looked at their stories because why? Why would he?
yeah,
Yeah.
because also he's looking at it from the dynasty's perspective is like this was a necessary action.
Hmm.
So to him, it's not even a story. It's just like well, that's what just had to be done. And then he's looking at it now. He's like, okay, if I am a Hebrew, I could have been one of these babies that was,
Yeah.
killed.
Hmm.
Because I'm only a slave, if that's what we're
Yeah.
using. My life
Yeah.
And
doesn't
in
matter.
addition to that, you're also challenging the idea that he had of his father,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is, like you don't think of like about your dad as being a person who commits genocide. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
suddenly
Yeah.
that's brought to the
Even,
forefront, and you're like, did you specifically really do this? Was it you?
hmm Yeah, because it's
And
like
it,
I
yeah,
see that this image is you, but is that you? Like that in here, you did
yeah,
this, right? Yeah,
yeah.
it's
I sort
it's
of
so
thought
interesting.
about that line, which is this true? Kind of more of a like a direct confrontation with his father about something that
Yeah.
his father did.
And Miriam, when she, before she sings Lullaby, she goes,
Yeah,
"Go ask the man you call
you call
father,"
father.
which
Yeah.
becomes a,
Yeah.
a recurring line. And then
Mm-hmm.
he asks him, he learns the
Mm-hmm.
truth, and now his world is different, and he's starting to break.
Yeah. Yeah. Much like Mrs. Claus in Santa Claus is Coming to Town, his world is beginning to change. Uh,
What a weird pull.
That's what I'm here for, and you know it. And yeah, he's going through this identity crisis of like, I'm one of the people whose life is disposable to my parents. And I think that's something that is strangely relatable to a lot of people, um, who maybe their family has like views about certain communities, and you might actually be a part of that community and they don't really know, or they kind of see you as not one of them. But you're like, oh, you want me dead based on
People like
this.
me.
Yeah,
You
dead.
want people like me
Mm-hmm.
dead, which
Yeah,
Yeah.
wouldn't, because of who I am, would also include me. So you want me dead. Yeah, it's
yeah.
like those equivalencies. Yep.
So you see why he's having a crash out. His mom is like, yeah, it's okay, you know the truth. It's okay. Like, this is where you were meant to be. This is home. The river brought you here. It meant for you to be here. Just like your, is that Sid or Edgar?
This is Edgar.
Edgar. Uh, and she says, if when the gods send a blessing, ask why it was sent.
And hmm,
Um, I really like, I guess she's complicit in all this. Well, I don't know, a woman in Egypt, I don't know how much control she has over anything, but
Depends on
uh
the time period, apparently.
yeah, but it's
right.
like I do love how she views it as just like, well, yeah, you were a blessing. The river brought you to me, and that's it. I have no more
Hmm.
questions.
Yeah, it's like he starts with his father and then he has to work through everyone else in his family, his mother and then Ramses,
Yeah.
right? Like confronting, figuring out like what their viewpoint is on him being a Hebrew.
And you never get any closure with the mom.
Well, I guess the
Like,
closure is she's like,
This.
I don't care that you are not of me, that you
Yeah.
are a
yeah.
Hebrew. You're my son. God, the
Yeah.
gods brought you to me.
Yeah, but I guess we just never see her again in the movie.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we never see the father again either.
Yeah.
Yeah. They serve their purpose.
Hmm.
Uh
Um,
yeah, so he is now kind of he's shook. He's it's giving Mr. Krabs in that meme. He's kind of like walking through life like, oh, what's going on? Um, and he sees the Hebrews being bullied to build these temples. His brother's like, we're gonna have a statue of Hapi here. That guy's a blue god, and he had female breasts. And he was the god of the Nile. Like we're gonna have a big statue of him here. We're gonna have and so he's like dreaming up this temple complex, and he's like
yeah.
watching the people build it, and he sees an old man being abused by a slave
Hmm.
master, and he goes to save him and accidentally pushes that guy off the scaffolding, and
He pushes the person. He
the
pushes
taskmaster, the
the
slave
foreman.
master,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
And this is where like I would do in the Twilight movies. I'd like, actually in the book, Moses kills this person.
yeah, not an accident.
Yeah.
uh
Yeah.
and he collapses. They're like, oh, he's dead, and they're like, there's all him, it was him. And just he bolts.
Yeah, because he's
Hmm.
talking to Ramses about he's trying to talk to Ramses about like what he's discovered. And after, as he's running and Ramses is going after him, he's like, I forgive you. I'm going to pardon you. Like I have the
I
power
am
to
the
do that.
morning and evening
Evening
sun.
Star,
Yeah.
like I am
I
going
say
to,
who is innocent and who is not.
yeah, he's like, I'm going to pardon you. And it's like, that's not what I'm talking about. Like
Yeah.
that, this is just one, like, yes, I just
Yeah.
killed a man, but for the entirety of my life, I have been complicit in my people being abused and enslaved. It's like, that's what he's really dealing with, on top of, yes, having just killed a guy.
Hmm.
So,
And Ramses isn't really getting it, but he's like, go ask the man I once called father.
hmm,
And
Hmm. There it is again.
yeah,
he runs off, and we get like he's running off and he's shouting, Moses, Moses. And you get this like trauma essentially of like of Ramses that he's like, I need you. Like I like need you to get through this and you're abandoning me. And so you
Yep.
get like this separation as he goes off to the desert. He's getting buried in the sand because he's dehydrated. Uh
He takes off his wig.
yeah, wig
Yes.
snatched by God.
He takes off all his
Takes off
jewelry
all
except
of his jewelry.
the
the
signet ring
ring,
from
Hmm.
Ramses.
a little piece of his brother.
Hmm.
Um and he sees a camel coming by with some water and he's like, wait. So he
Well, the
follow
camel
Well,
yanks him
eats.
up.
the
Yeah.
camel tries to eat him.
Hmm. And then he's like, oh, water. And then he just gets dragged into a well
Hmm.
Yeah. Well,
or
he
to a well.
to a
He gets
well.
dragged to the
To a
well.
well.
I love this is like there's a couple moments where, well, I think this is like the really only like main moment where a an animal and human like interact as if like they can fully understand each other, where like he's like sticking his face in the water and then he like comes up and then the ram is like looking at him like you're crazy.
Yeah.
Shout out to that ram.
Shout to that ram.
It was
Uh,
also a really great way to like, I don't know, for me that moment also made it clear how desperate he is, because
Hmm.
the ram's mouth was full of water and then it opens and it like all of the water goes back into the well and you realize, oh, he's drinking out of the
Drinking with the
same
animal.
trough that the animals are, and that's
Yeah.
really gross.
And also,
yeah.
I think maybe the ram is like, that's so gross. Why am I
Yeah,
sharing
yeah.
this with you? This is like water.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
gross, human.
And he
Yeah.
sees the brigands harassing these young girls
Hmm.
and he lets their camels go because he's like can barely stand. So that's like the best move he's got. He's like, these are your
Hmm.
camels, right? Sets them
And
loose. They go running off.
Which, by the way, great way to interpret that really confusing passage from the Bible.
Yeah. Streamline it.
seriously,
It
Yeah.
worked great.
We love an
yeah.
adaptation. Yeah.
Then he falls into the well, and the three little girls go to like try to pull him out. Zipporah shows up,
The funny man in the
and
well.
the
Yeah.
funny man on, she's like, okay. And then she's like, oh shit, there is someone in there. And so they're pulling. And then she's like, you. She recognizes him. And then she's like, bitch, and drops the rope. And this is one of my favorite lines. She like flips her hair, walks away after she's just, dunked Moses quite literally. And the oldest goes, and that's why Papa says she'll never get married.
I thought it was so funny that the two little girls like immediately turned to the oldest one, like as in like, you know what's going on, obviously.
Yeah,
And she just says that like
so
Yeah.
funny.
she knows exactly what's going on and absolutely does not.
And
It's great.
I love the way they did this dynamic and that later we see that Zipporah acknowledges and like has told her family like, oh, he saved me. He like distracted
Yeah.
the guards and let me escape. So she's not like she understands that he saved her, but it's like you still embarrassed me in front of everybody.
Hmm.
Yep.
And I'm gonna dunk you in the well. Like I'm not gonna leave you to die, but you are gonna get dunked.
Yes.
On
And that's
top of
fair.
that, like it's a complete reversal because now she's holding the rope in which
Yeah.
she releases and he falls into the water. So,
Yeah.
It's revenge, it's payback. They're equal,
Hmm.
mhm.
you know, they're even.
And we get him being scrubbed down.
I'm
I said
sorry. I'm gonna need you to read exactly what you wrote in your notes.
he gets his taint
Quote,
he gets his taint washed
end quote. That's what it says here.
because these ladies are scrubbing
Yeah.
him well. People are watching. This is a big event. They're peeking,
And
and he's like, "You've
he's
scrubbed
like,
me
you've
everywhere," and then
oh,
not
I guess
there,
not my taint.
not my taint or his hole, whichever, maybe both.
Either
I'd
or,
say
yeah.
they're right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and he's given a big coat and taken in to the next musical number through Heaven's Eyes, where he's like, I'm
So
unimportant. I'm not worthy of honoring. And he's like, you saved my daughters today. You helped Zipporah escape from Egypt. Like, that's honor enough, like it starts with a
and
thread and a tapestry as part of a big design.
but he also he says that like basically like I've done horrible things in my life. Like there's
Mhm.
like I'm not worthy.
Mhm.
And like Zipporah hears this, like she's like, oh, this guy's atoning. So like she
Yeah.
like it's like she contextualizes the way he treated her um, when they first met as like part of that, right?
Yeah.
Because I was kind of like, otherwise, I'm like, how could they move on into then, spoilers, a romantic relationship? But it's like, okay, she hears this and she's like, okay, he must consider what happened with us as
Yeah.
one of those horrible things. Every time I hear this song, I cry. I love this song.
It's
As
so good.
as a non-religious person, I find this entire number to be so empowering and beautiful and a great reminder. Did I need that this week? Maybe. Um, but yeah, like this song is literally about like you matter, you make a difference, but you're never going to be able to see that if you're just focusing on you. You have to see how you fit into the grand design.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so
It's
good.
your background right now.
It is. And also, it's a certified banger. Okay.
Yeah.
It is.
I
It
want to
is.
dance to it. So
Yeah, it
I
has
also
dance, it
appreciate,
has a montage, it's got everything.
they get married. They
Yeah.
have this
yeah.
cute moment where, so it's also, this is the montage where we see Moses becoming a shepherd. He's becoming part of this tribe, this community. He's supposedly becoming a better person, right? Like he like
Hmm.
helps birth a sheep and he's taking care of the flock and he's living his cottagecore girly days and he's loving it. But there's this cute moment between them where like they're like flirting on a rock and he like walks away and she like goes to give him a staff and has like a flower for her and I'm like, they're so cute.
It is a really good montage and shows
Mhm.
his personal growth really well, I think.
And they get
And
married.
yes, they do. And like I appreciate that this song is sort of a transition period for the movie to start
Mhm.
like pulling you into the more religious
God stuff.
aspect. Yeah,
Yes,
because you don't get
absolutely.
any of that in like the first. I have no idea time wise when this happens
Probably about
actually in the
40
movie.
minutes. 'Cause I think
It's
Yeah, I
about
was kind of
halfway,
thinking.
yeah.
the
Yeah,
well is about
Yeah.
the
30.
entire first half of the movie is like nobody talks about God really
Yeah.
hardly at all. And
Yeah.
then you get this song, and it doesn't even use the term God as like look at your life through heaven's eyes,
Yeah.
and it's sort of like a gentle transition into that world.
Hmm.
What's very funny is so I was like, "Oh, Rafa, do you want to watch this movie with me?" He's like, "I think I know what this is, but I don't think I've seen it." And then he sees this scene, and then at the end, he's a shepherd. He's like, "Oh, Moses," because I believe in Spanish it's more like Moises. Let me. That sounds
Oh.
like I'm doing a Veggie Tales Jewish accent. Let me look it up. Moses in Spanish. But he's like, oh, it's that guy. Like and he is
Oh,
like,
interesting.
yeah, like Moises, like Moises. He's like, I have some, like, he's like, I'm familiar sort of with the story. He's like, I don't really know the story, and so I just thought it was like a story in ancient Egypt, like a mythology, or like almost like a Mulan, like just kind of like a story set in this ancient time. And then he's
Yeah.
like, oh wait, this is a Bible movie.
Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah. I didn't really think about so much of like the religiosity transition. Like, but you're absolutely right. Like, we have references to the gods of
Hmm.
Egypt. The movie, they talk about Gerard
Yeah,
Butler's accent,
yeah,
and it's fascinating. Um, but yeah, I never really thought about that because it's like his introduction into God for himself, but it's also the
Hmm.
movie bringing us into like, okay, now we're really going to talk about the Bible stuff. Here we go.
yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
And in a way that is probably more obviously you talk about how impactful it is for you, that is maybe more relatable to a lot of modern religious audiences than like plagues.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and also in that way, like it just becomes relatable to like the secular community in general
Yep.
because
Yeah.
I'm a
you
secular
watched an
person.
entire 40 minutes of a movie and now you're invested. So,
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's how they get you. Good
They
old
get you with that
Jeffrey.
good music
Yeah. Steven Schwartz.
and Hans
Uh,
Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer. We get the burning bush. Beautifully done. He sees a sheep goes off. He runs off after the sheep, and he sees this blue flaming Haisuki's tail. This blue
Mhm.
flaming burning bush. He sees that it's being burned and not consumed. He can touch the fire, and we get the voice of God, and we get
He's wearing
this.
his sandals
He says,
also
take your
at the
sandals
he's
off.
like, take your sandal.
mhm.
This is hallowed ground. And he's like, oh shit,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
takes his shoes off.
This is
Yeah,
holy
but not
ground from
before
Taylor Swift's
questioning.
Red. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like he's like, what is
Who are
happening?
you? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, I am him, capital Hin.
Gaga.
And
Yeah.
I am who am.
yes.
The
And
God of your
he
forefathers.
yeah. And he lists them. Um and
Why
then
don't you list them, Hannah?
okay, Abraham, Isaac, is it Jacob?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
It was
I
just
was like,
funny because you're like, and
I
then
knew
he
it was
lists
Abraham.
them, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh,
There's
oh.
only three.
And we all know the list, but we don't have to say it. It's
I think we
fine.
all sing, yeah.
I think we all say. I think we all know the list, Cullen. Yeah.
And it's very similar. It's different, but it's very similar to the scene in the Bible. And religious scholars were consulted for this
Mhm.
movie to make sure it was a respectful depiction. Um,
Oh, we didn't even talk about the way this movie really, really starts is with text on the screen that says this
Oh,
Bible
yeah, yeah,
story
yeah.
was we took creative liberties, but we are doing this to honor the the traditions and the beliefs of these people. So
yeah,
Mhm.
now we can come.
yeah. And we get like, you're gonna do my wonders with this staff. You're gonna be my voice. We get him being like, I can't speak, and he's like, who made man's mouth? Who made the deaf and the dumb? You get that.
Mhm.
Like,
There's, I think, actually, like a good number of the lines from God are direct pulls
Yeah.
smart
from,
choice.
yeah,
Yeah. I
from the
mean,
Yeah,
Bible.
if it ain't broke, don't
Um,
fix it. It's good
yeah,
dialogue.
with maybe just like some modernization to make it
yeah,
Right.
sound better. But I think it was such a good choice to have Moses also voice God
yeah,
in this
Yeah.
scene.
yeah. To really emphasize like the revelation, the personal divine relationship.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. And to compare this with another divine interaction scene in the other Bible movie we saw, when we think of how they changed the Gabriel Mary interaction in Journey to Bethlehem, and really kind of, there's a nice thing they added, but in general kind of made it very comedic and took away like a lot of the central aspects of that interaction.
Alyssa, did you see that movie, The Journey to Bethlehem
I did not know.
musical?
Yeah.
10 out of 10 should watch it. But anyway, the comedic thing that one of the comedic things that Cullen is referencing is the angel shows up and is like floating to Mary, who's in bed sleeping. Classic Mary.
Okay. Yep.
Bonks his head on the threshold. That's how that scene starts. That's how Mary finds out that she's gonna be with God's child.
Yes.
So
And
choices were
they
made in that movie.
Interesting
and they
choice.
removed her
Mhm.
saying yes, which is usually emphasized as like the key part of the scene.
I don't like that.
Yeah, me either. So
Mhm.
that's why
No.
I think it was a smart move in this movie, which is very tonally different. I will give them credit.
Yeah.
Like Judy Bethlehem was going for a very different tone. That they were like, we're just gonna keep God's lines. I think that's a good
Mhm.
idea.
Mhm.
So he's off to go. We're off to see the Pharaoh.
Yeah, he
And
goes and tells Zipporah, she's kind of in shock because it's we don't hear what's going on until, then he's like, I have to do this for my people. Like your family, your community gets to live a life of dignity. That's the future that I want for my people.
Yeah.
And she's like, all right, I'm coming with you. She's
Mhm.
a ride or die.
Yeah.
But she's also like she's apprehensive.
Yeah.
She is worried. Like she's like, you're only one man. Um, and it just feels a lot more human and down to earth. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know. If somebody came up to me and told me they were hearing God, I'd probably recommend them to a doctor these days. But um like
Yeah.
it just
But I guess like his his goal is not like we're gonna go and do something that's crazy. It's like I want to go end slavery. And she's like, okay,
Hannah,
yeah,
I mean, but at the time that was crazy.
true. But I mean, not like crazy in the sense of like impossible. I'm saying like crazy in the sense of like that's not good type of thing. Like this is
Uh
an honorable thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Not like
yes.
let's go rob. God's telling me to go rob Macy's, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Like
that's, I mean, you
not
shouldn't
God.
do that.
Yeah. Not like God's telling me to start a cult. God's calling me
Right.
to like help people. Uh
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
But she is, it does make sense that she's apprehensive. And he has the
Mm-hmm.
argument of like, well, your family gets to have a future. I want that for my people. And she's a ride or die. This is a great way to show she's ride or die with no circumcision scene. You know, like
Yeah.
they
Yep.
did in the book. The by uh
The book, the text.
Which I
yeah.
still don't understand at all.
Yeah. Uh so they're off, and he goes to Egypt, and Ramses is happy to see him.
Yeah. And shocked.
Yeah.
He's like, I thought you were dead.
Uh
It's
is he
actually really interesting because in this scene, you see the rest of the people around them like gasp because they have never seen the Pharaoh be so friendly with anyone, probably ever before, in
Right.
such a, well, brotherly way. But in addition to that, like Moses is a convicted felon, sort of.
Right.
If there
Yeah.
were courts and trials, he killed a man.
Oh, yeah, I guess like that's the last thing they knew of him before he disappeared was like
Yeah.
he fucking killed one of
Hmm.
the the
Foreman.
slave masters, one of the
Yeah.
foremen. Yeah.
And the priests
Um,
actually bring that up in this scene.
yes. Yeah, they're like, and that is punishable by death. We really hate to say it. Like that's punishable, but and he's like, and they're like, shut up. This
Yeah.
is my brother. He's a prince of Egypt. Like he's like welcoming him as if like Moses is here to be like, hey, so is my room still open? Like
Yeah, and he's ready to be like, you're with me, we're gonna be together again. Like he's
the
so
boys are
happy
back
to
in
see him. The
town.
boys are back in town.
And like, I guess to Ramsey's credit in this moment, Moses is open and wanting it, like hugs him back and like it's
Yeah.
like I haven't
Yeah.
seen you in forever. Like it is a reunion
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
brothers.
He's not under, Ramses isn't under any impression that Moses is there to do what he's there to do. Yeah.
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 Uh,
Um,
because he's like, did you think everything is gonna go back to normal? And Ramses is like, why wouldn't it? And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, because I'm here from God.
I'm different.
I'm different. It was his 2016. He realized things.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm here to let my people go. Free with the Hebrews. And
He
Ramses is
said,
like,
God commands you. God wants me to tell you that he commands you to let my people go.
he's like, command.
He's like, God, God's, I think you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, and he's like, see, I can make a look, my staff can be a snake. I can show this to you. And Ramses is like, yeah, we can do some cool
Hotep
stuff.
poi. Like,
Uh,
let's do this thing.
and we get the big boys now. And this is gonna be my hot take.
I already see it and I hate it. But okay, go ahead, say it. Say your
I
piece.
think this song kind of blows. I like the chant. I like when we're introducing, maybe it's the vocalists. I just think all the other songs are like
You mean
certified
comedy
bangers.
comedy
Yes.
duo Martin Short and Steve
Yes.
Martin, you're not pleased with their vocalization,
I'm
with their
not
oration?
I am not. I think it is I know why the musical cut this one. I think it's very of the time in that they're like, this is an animated musical. Hannah's gone. Uh, next plague on my way from Hannah. But I think it's like very of the time in that it's like it's a 90s movie. We need a villain song, and it is fine, but it's like this movie doesn't need this particular song because even just as characters, them as like the villains are like can feel a little bit okay. We need these villains, but like Ramses and Moses, their relationship is so strong. We don't really, to me, like I don't need them. Like I get why they're there, it makes sense, but at the end of the day, like the Moses Ramses relationship, even though Ramses isn't a villain in the like Disney villain sense, he's a more complicated character. So I'm like, yeah, we don't need these like villains. We got him versus Moses, and that's enough. But I get why they're like, we need a villain song. I like the chanting. I just think this was the one song that I'm
Uh,
not like, let's go.
Mm.
I don't. I just
Alyssa, please,
first.
please, go ahead.
I disagree in that the song is not needed. I understand where you might not like the vocalist, but to be honest, it didn't take me out. I like it. I think you need them as villains until Ramsey becomes the villain.
Okay.
I I agree. The song is awesome. And I will be listening to it after this. And I listen to it in my car sometimes. I think in terms of like its necessity to the story, I think this goes back to what we talked about, like the summary of the Book of Exodus, where it
The
was
sorcerers.
God
Yeah.
versus gods,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's not just um, Ramses versus Moses, it's also old gods versus new gods in the sense of like Moses's old gods versus his new God. Um, Also, I think it's to show that like Ramses, like what Ramses is coming with, right? Like what his understanding is. So if Moses performs a wonder, what does Ramses have to that? He has the sorcerers, the priests
Mm-hmm.
to prove it wrong, right? He's doing his own research, so to speak. Um, I think there is a necessity to the story in terms of that like it is still like you need that undercurrent because the wonders, the plagues grow. They become more
Yeah.
intense. And then the sorcerers can't, like, they can't do with anything with the boils. We learn a little
Mm-hmm.
bit later, right? Like, their powers run out. And then we're seeing Ramses' power run out. His
Yeah.
power is sorcery, his power is gods, the gods, right? So I do think it shows that, like, Moses shows up with the power of God. This is actually Ramses' villain song before the plagues is like, well, here are my guys. I'm doing my own research over here.
Well, and like also in addition to that, sort of building off it, the movie itself has a like underlying theme in like the song that won the award is about miracles and
Mhm.
like the wonders of God, and it sets up the sorcerers not to be mystical in any way. They are magicians.
Yes,
They
they're
do
phonies.
not. Yes, they're fake basically. And so I think that juxtaposition is also needed where like you see this is the limit of humanity, and this is as opposed to the miracles of divinity of
And it
God.
and it kind of points to also something you mentioned, Cullen, about uh, which I have thoughts and opinions about, um, that like this version of God has a favorite people and that he uses his powers to smite those people. And so it's like,
Those people's enemies. To
yes,
smite,
those
yeah,
people's
yeah,
people, yes,
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah.
those people's enemies. I was like, wait a second, yeah. Um, and so it is sort of like they need a way to fight back in the story, and their way to fight back is with this. And then you see the limitations, right? So I think
yeah,
like it makes them less totally powerless to a all-powerful God, you know. Um, I also think it makes it extra sad when and we're also kind of already getting into the plagues, but when it ends with the fact that Ramses can't do anything to save his son,
yeah,
that will not like his mystical or his magician powers from the sorcerers can't help him. And
yeah,
it makes like and it makes God, the character of God, I'm not going to say God, it makes the character of God that more heinous, in my opinion, that like the stuff that Ramses has to fight back is never going to be good enough. And yet this character of God still takes his son from him. But
yeah,
anyway,
I mean,
yeah,
as a film that transition from this sort of hokey, I feel like this song is kind of hokey. The
yeah,
tonal
yeah,
difference between the beginning of the wonders and the end of the wonders is like a direct, like just like I don't exponentially like serious like
yeah,
mhm.
um so you start off in a very specific tonal area with this song, and then you get to the plague song and the end of the plagues, which actually has no music at all, which I think was a great choice. And it's really intense.
you know
I love
what?
that you mentioned the music because they're the tone of the music because you're absolutely right in that they're like you're playing with the big boys now like they're all cocky like they're talking trash.
Mm-hmm.
Moses doesn't need to do that because he has God, right? So it's like it's all this bravado and then that is
Yeah,
just torn down through the
yeah.
plagues.
Mm-hmm.
Tefnut can't do anything about it. Got us some moisture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know what? I think you won me over. I still sort of stand by that. I think the song, well, not entirely Garbo, does kind of blow, but
You
you,
understand now that what we
yeah,
believe its
yes.
purpose
And
is.
I
Yeah.
and I never thought like, wow, this is dumb. How could this is
Right.
just the first time I saw it and was like, I don't know if this one's hitting the same way, but that chant has always stuck in my brain.
Hell yeah. The power of Ra.
Yeah. So we get this interaction where we see the backdrop of Egypt, that it's the same throne room and Egypt is so much bigger. And Ramses is like, is this what you really want? Like, I want you to come back and be my brother. And he's like, no, I work for God now, the big G. This is what he wants.
This is
But
just like where Ramses is like things are gonna be the same. And Moses is like, no, they can't be. You need to let my people go.
and he
And
returns
he's
the ring.
yes, he returns the ring. And
Yes.
this is what um
Sets Ramses off.
hardens this is where the first time Pharaoh's heart is hardened.
Yeah.
Um but I think like in the movie,
God doesn't harden
God
the heart.
God
Pharaoh's
does
heart
No.
is
Yeah.
hardened.
yes, it takes the blame off of God, where the blame one could blame God in the Bible story for making Moses or Ramses do the things he does because God is the one controlling that. But yeah, this is where his heart first becomes hardened because Moses is now officially giving up his ties to
Yeah.
Ramses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's rejecting this gift that he also held on to because it meant a lot to
And
him.
and I think it's both because it means a lot to him, but then he makes it a point of pride. And I think what's really interesting about you mentioned the backdrop, how Egypt is bigger.
Yeah.
So you see his father's pharaoh statue.
Mhm.
His is taller and bigger.
Yeah.
Ramses is
Yep.
behind it. So, his is now like, I'm going to be better than my father because his father thought that he was going to bring down the dynasty. He was a weak
Yeah.
link. I'm not a
Mhm.
weak link. I'm going to show strength, quote unquote,
Mhm.
in this moment. And he's like, fuck off. And
Yeah.
Moses is like, and then he's like, and all of the slaves, their workload is going to be doubled thanks to your God, or should I say, thanks to you.
Cunty.
So cunty. I mean, Ramses is literally cunty. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. Uh, so that obviously the Israelites mad about this, throwing mud at Moses. They're like, "You didn't care about us, so you're one of us. Now you're here making our lives awful. Go back." Um, and Miriam's like, "No, I vision boarded this. Moses is not giving up.
She's like, it's gonna get worse until it gets better.
Yeah, Moses is gonna deliver us." And he says they can't take your faith from you because like Miriam kind of inspires him, and he's like, they can make your life hard, they can make your life miserable.
They can
uh
take your life away with one word, but they can't
yeah.
take your faith.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I have to go see a pharaoh about a bloody Nile.
Yeah, he's in a barging by, he's barging on through, and
And
Moses.
Ramses is on like his barge, right? And his
Yeah.
son is there. And Hoy and Hotep are literally doing magician tricks.
Yeah.
So this is the first time I ever noticed that. I was like, oh, they are literal phonies. Like
Yeah.
it's just tricks. Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, hey, let my people go. And Pharaoh's like, now I'm mad, now I'm setting my guards.
Hmm.
And Moses is like, I'm putting my staff in. God's telling me to put my staff in. The Nile is turning to blood. And the visuals here, like how they make the water look, not just the water's red now, but the water's like, looks like blood.
It looks like actual like
Yeah.
blood,
Yeah.
like if you drop blood into water, it kind of spreads and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, because blood is only partially water or mostly water. So like the plasma and stuff, like it looks like it has texture. And so then
Mhm.
when he goes, Hoy Hotep, explain this to me, do your research. And they put some red powder, they make Kool-Aid. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
like, it's just red, but that water looks different than
Yeah.
the water that was
Ugh.
dyed. And that's such a really cool animation difference that like as a
It's
viewer, it's like you
very
can tell that there's a
it's
difference between,
visceral. Yeah.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
every time I see this scene, you have like the guards that are like fleeing from the river,
the guy
and
who
the
goes
one guy
under.
falls in,
Hmm.
and it just is like disgusting. It's
Yep.
disgusting. Imagine falling into a pool of blood. Ugh. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Uh
But I mean, the Hebrews are impressed.
Yeah,
yeah. This is
They're
because
a
for
starting
them,
much
to
bigger
see.
than snake
but
staff.
well, also
Yeah.
this is the one that they're seeing. They didn't see the snake staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the
And
first miracle they're seeing or wonder they're seeing.
I feel like it's really interesting and important to point out that as Moses's relationship with Ramses is falling apart, his relationship with Aaron is starting to build almost at the
Yeah.
same
Yes.
exact time. Um, and even at the very beginning of the movie, when Ramses is willing to like treat Moses as a brother, even that like even though he's a Hebrew and he's a murderer, Aaron denies him as a brother when he first meets him at the well. Like it's a like complete whatever this is
Parallel journeys.
graph
Yeah.
kind of. Yeah,
Extra. Yeah.
they like
Yeah, because
switch
Aaron
places.
Aaron joins in on that guy who is throwing mud at Moses, and Miriam has
Yes.
to be the one
Yeah.
like, no, vision board.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting because also Aaron even though in the Bible story he was Moses's mouthpiece. Um,
So glad they didn't do that in the movie.
I
So
mean,
glad.
that would have been a nightmare. Um, but he's like not faithless, but he's very skeptical. And so he gains faith over the course of this part of the movie too.
Yeah.
Mhm. And
Um,
not just in God, but in Moses.
Moses, yes.
and this is also like the contrast with the priests and Moses and like the wonders and the magician tricks and like faith is like a big distinction. I know I talk a lot about how my due to my personal experiences, I tend to see like a lot of stuff in religion as magic, even when they say it's not magic. I'm like, this is magical thinking, and that's okay, and that's cool with me. That doesn't discredit it. But like the traditional view is that magic is like fake, like the sorcerers are doing, or it comes from a desire to assert your will over the world to take a god's place. And then a miracle is you have faith in God and he makes something happen, but it's of his will. You can't force God or the saints or whoever to do what you want. But if they do, it's a miracle, like
Yeah.
so that's a distinction that's happening. As we get into the plagues, uh, a banger number.
Hell yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Uh, Again, with the musical, I was like, why would you change this? Why mess with perfection?
Hmm.
Uh, we get all the plagues happening. We get frogs, locusts, and we have this chant of "Thus say the Lord," like
Hmm.
reflecting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the one.
reflecting the verses in the Bible, like there'll be nothing left that's green. There's nothing. I send the locust on the wind,
Yeah.
fire raining down, and
It slaps so hard and it has no right to
Yes.
do that. Like, I've
yeah,
Yeah.
never wanted to read the Bible more in my life than hearing the song be like, you know what? I want to see these verses for myself. Um, I think also in the song, it's a duet, right, between
Hmm.
Moses and Ramses. They're they
Yes.
are literally telling us like their perspective on this, on the situation and what they're feeling, but it works so well because it's like, well, this is the result of their conflict because it what it is like it's taking this otherworldly conflict and making it about these two brothers cannot agree, which means that Ramses will not be a good person, you know?
yeah.
Um, it's yeah, I love the structure and the use of this relationship for the movie. It's so good.
He
Just
says,
musically, the duet is a reprise of um the
"All I
other
ever
one.
wanted."
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
It
because
is it's so good.
he's like, "This is my home. All this pain and devastation, it tortures me inside. All the innocent who suffered your stubbornness and pride. Like this is your fault." And then
Yeah.
he's like, "You will." Ramses is like, "Why must you call down another blow?" And he's like, "Let my heart be hardened."
Yeah.
Is how he's instead of God hardening Pharaoh's heart, it's Pharaoh being like, "No, I'm getting hardened." Uh, oh, he's getting hardened. Wait, is that what was going on in Exodus?
What?
Pharaoh was getting hard, and that's why he couldn't make a decision.
Oh,
New Bible
He was
interpretation
distracted.
dropped. Yeah,
it
that's
happens.
it happens. Maybe he's really into Aaron,
Whoa.
Maybe. I mean,
Whoa.
possible.
step sibling. Yeah, uh, he's hardened, and so we get the plagues.
But he's doubling down. He's 10
Yeah,
toes down on his
Yes.
decision. Instead of it going like the back and forth that we have in the
yeah.
Bible story, he's like, no, no, no.
We see him kicking
This,
out Hoy and Hotep during the boils
yeah.
scene. They can't fix the boils. People are screaming and shrieking with these boils. The guards are collapsing. So he's like, "Get out."
Yeah.
It's very much it's really like family turmoil. It's giving like bad Thanksgiving vibes, but with really, really steep consequences.
Consequences. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start
Yeah.
playing that next time something goes south at Thanksgiving. You're just gonna start hearing the say
Uh,
the Lord. Yeah. Yeah.
And you're just going instead of stop the violence, do not let your heart be hardened.
Yeah. And everyone's gonna be like, I'm with my family. God, Cullen. Uh,
Uh,
and
yeah,
this is where he goes to Ramsey's sad statue place.
yeah, because there's been
Mhm.
9 plagues,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Moses is like, all right, maybe we just need to have another chit chat.
Yeah. We even saw a sun god statue of Ra collapse as it gets dark.
Yes.
So Egypt is really devastated. So he's like, hey,
Yeah.
this can be done. And Ramses is like, you always got me in trouble, but you always found a way out. And they joke about switching the animal heads at the temple. And he's he's feeling softer towards Moses. They have this
Yeah.
relationship. But when he's like, please let my people go, he's just kind of like,
He's like, well, he's like, God, shut up about it, right?
yeah,
And then his son shows up, Ramses' son,
Mhm.
in the darkness, and he's like, I'm so scared. And Ramses goes to comfort him, and then the kid is like, wait, this is the fucker that's doing all this, instead
why
of
is
it being
he
like,
here? Yeah.
dad, he doesn't understand that his dad is also part of this, right?
Mhm.
And also the composition of this shot is they're in front of the motif where Moses found out about his backstory.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so this is Pharaoh uh doing the killing babies thing. And at the base of this motif is Ramses' son. So it's visual foreshadowing of what is about to happen because
Yep.
Moses is like, if you do not stop this, like it's gonna be really bad. And because like his son is involved, right? Like I think Ramses takes this as like a Moses threatening his son, which he's not.
Mhm.
He's warning him.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And he's like, get the fuck out of here. And then Moses is like, all right, we
Well,
got to
I
do a
mean,
Passover.
Well, we get this line, which is God
yes.
says in the Bible, and they gave it to the villain, Pharaoh,
Yes.
where he says,
Yes,
there will be a cry out
right.
in Egypt. He threatens the people of Israel that
Mhm.
he's going to kill them. And we have the shot again. He's right beneath the Pharaoh,
Yes.
Mhm.
pointing to the execution. He's become just like his father. And this
Once
is,
I'll
again,
finish what he started.
Ramses with the self-fulfilling prophecies here.
yes. And this is so interesting because I think so much violence. I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this without tying it too much to like a time and place. So much violence is justified by if we didn't strike them, they would strike us. That if we this throughout history,
Yes.
like these people
Yes.
will come for us. Like,
Yep.
if we don't get rid of the immigrants,
Yeah.
they'll destroy everything. Like if we don't do this, like this, it comes from a language of self-defense. The
Yeah.
Nazis used
Yep.
this, like the Jews will come and devour us. They're the wolf in Little Red Riding Hood, and we're Little Red Riding Hood. The Disney princess theology, like this, they're gonna come for us. And then it's like, oh well, we have to strike. We the good guys have to strike first in self-defense. And
Strike first in self-defense. That's a really great way to phrase it.
yes, and that is how a lot of people, nations, whatever, bring through in their life that plays out. And I think this movie, because it is pretty scary what God is about to do, want to make sure Ramses is still seen as the villain, and they create strike first in self-defense. And in this context, Pharaoh is in charge of them. He can easily have them all executed. It's not an empty threat. Like it is
Yeah.
like it
Yeah.
makes very much sense in the context of this story in the movie that we're telling, but just the ramifications of switching God's threat to Pharaoh's mouth and like the strike first self-defense thing, I'm like, this is just it's interesting. I get why it
Yes.
was done,
Yeah.
but it carries a
And
lot
I
of
think
weight.
in addition to that, they made a really smart choice in condensing all of the 9 plagues
Yes.
into a montage because we
Yes.
don't see a lot of the consequences of this. We don't see the people of Egypt really suffering until this moment that you're talking about, the strike
Yeah.
first in self-defense, and then you see what
But
happens.
I mean, you see the people with boils screaming, running around in a
But
fire,
it's
You
terrified
do, but
it's
children.
inconvenient. It's not
They're not
dangerous.
dead.
yes.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
when you're just viewing it as a montage, it doesn't make as much of an impact as if you
Yeah.
were viewing it through the eyes of a character.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I
It's
used to always think about like the boils and then like the ants on that guy's back and
Yeah,
running
that
away from
that's
the
gross.
frog. It gave me a lot of very like visceral, but I do get what you're saying.
yeah.
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 So we get this final plague, we get the Passover, they put the blood over the doors, and we see the destroyer come through as like this white mist
Hmm.
fog,
Yeah.
kind of searching through, passing over the red paint. We see like Miriam and Moses in their house and them being passed by. Uh, and
This
we
is including where we see like Ramsey's son like in front of that motif, and then this is like this movie features a lot of children.
dying.
And
Yes.
then
Yes.
now and then yes, children dying. Yeah,
We see the child dying in bed with a parent. We see a child carrying water into the home, and then you see the
just
vase
a
break and
hand.
the hand, it's like almost looks like Snow White, that scene where like
It's
you see her
very,
hand.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
This scene always, like, this in combination with the next scene always makes me cry.
yeah, I mean it is eerie, and it's like there's
Yeah.
this low hum. There's no like music.
Yeah.
It's very
There's no
somber because it's
there's no I don't think there's any music at all except for the sound design of the breath.
maybe it is.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's also this breath because it's like as
You hear
the
the
mist
breath
passes,
leaving.
it's sort of breathy,
Yeah.
and then yeah, you hear breaths being taken, like their last
Yeah.
breath is being
Yeah.
taken.
It is,
It's
I do,
haunting.
and I want to
Yeah.
give the filmmakers credit, because I'm gonna have, I do love this movie, and I just have there'll be some more storyline criticism that has much more to do with the story they're adapting than the choices they made. But
Right.
I want to say that they really chose to emphasize the tragedy and the horror of this in a
Yep.
way that maybe a lot of adaptations would have ignored because of the way it maybe makes God look, or the way like we're not supposed to feel bad for the Egyptians in quotation marks, but it shows you can the horror of it, of losing everyone. And
Violence begets violence,
yeah,
and violence against any community often results in the deaths of children.
yeah,
There is, I think, in this movie, this feeling that everyone who is human feels human. There's no othering, really.
yeah.
The other
Ramses is not
is
a Disney
no,
cartoon villain.
no. I mean, it's, yeah, all of the tragedy is like when the Hebrews are slaves, that's tragic. When the Egyptians die, that's tragic as well. Like, it's very much like unifying in a way that this is like kind of backwards because of the conflict is so serious between the Hebrews and the Egyptians, but like in comparison to God and the divine in this movie, everyone else is human.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think they just, yeah, the story is so well done and really focuses on the human conflict. So this scene with everything dark, and you hear the Ramsey screaming no, and you hear cries echoing throughout the city. You hear the cry in Egypt like there never was or never will be again. Um,
And
and
Ramsey said it, he was gonna do it.
yeah,
He's kind
Mm-hmm.
of
Yeah.
the reason he did it, you know.
Well, I mean, you also see Moses
breakdown.
break down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moses comes down and is like Ramses, and he's like, "Get out, you're free." He tries to comfort his brother, and Ramses is like, "Don't touch me." And you're like, yeah, I get it. He's weeping over his son's body, and he looks back at him with such hatred.
Yeah.
And Moses collapses outside the palace, overwhelmed by all the death he caused. This is a song in the musical. This is a point where they have Moses sing about like the impacts of everything and how it affects him.
Which makes sense,
Um,
I think.
Ah,
But
no, I hate that actually. It's the same reason I hate the song in Beauty and the Beast that they add when in the movie he just like cries out in anguish.
well,
They add a
I
song.
okay, that's a stage musical. I don't think there should be a song here in this movie. I don't
They
yeah.
watch
added
this
it in
and
the live action too.
yes, they did. They did. But I think it is what my movie musical and stage musical expectations are
Different.
different because
Yeah.
if a stage musical, I'm back there. I know there's going to be extra songs. That's mainly why we're here. In a movie, if we stop to do a song here, no.
No. So this is like he's achieved his goal, but at what cost?
Yeah,
And while he did not bring this on, he was God's vehicle.
Yeah.
And so
he feels guilt.
he feels
Yeah.
guilt. He There's also probably like the relief of having reached this goal,
Mhm.
but because of what's happened, it's just like
He killed his nephew. Like he didn't want to. The nephew didn't recognize him as his
he's
uncle.
complicit. He's
But yeah,
complicit in it.
Mhm.
yeah. And so they're free to go. And this is the correct place to place this song, but it does feel weird to me. We get There Can Be Miracles. Beautiful song about faith. Miriam's miracle has come true. Slaves are being freed. We get the children singing along and like singing in Hebrew and a lot of emphasis on like the generational freedom, like this little girl and an older woman helping each other. Kids
There's a
with their
guy
dolls. Yeah.
there's a guy who like tosses like a tiny baby, like a
Yeah.
toddler baby in the air.
And you see Egypt with all its power just like in ruins as they walk free. So you see that the miracle is that the upright have been, or the not upright, but like those in power have been toppled and the lowest can be free. So that is a beautiful miracle. And there can be miracles when you believe, but it does also come after where the magical wonder was the death of the firstborn. And that's where that tonal like I'm more of like the storyline us and them of like these people get to be free, but at the loss of these people. But those people were exploiting them. But it is like I think it's and there's the movie has the nuance. Maybe I just think a lot of audience members who take in the movie and take in the story don't stop and think about the nuance and they just think, yeah, it's good when miracles happen to us and it hurts our enemies. And they don't appreciate the humanity that this movie brings to the Egyptians. Maybe that's how I feel because I've always like
Yeah.
I've never been able to quite articulate it because I
Mhm.
think the movie is very like human. But
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Well,
it
and there's a couple of steps that they take from the really somber scene of the death of the firstborn to the There Can Be Miracles song, specifically Night Turns to Day. So you have that.
yeah,
But the beginning of the song is very somber.
yes. It
And
doesn't
you
start
do
with children dancing.
no, no, no.
right, right.
No. It starts almost like you see people upset, like they don't know how to feel about this, which is pretty much how the audience feels as well. You then start seeing like the uptick in energy, and then people are dancing. But I think the really interesting third thing that happens as you do a tonal shift is you do see some Egyptians are with the Hebrews.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, and I find that really interesting because I think it makes a lot of sense. Like, why wouldn't people who know these, like if you live with these people and like view them as people, as your friends and neighbors, and like obviously their God is all powerful because of all of the stuff that just happened. sure, go with them. Why would you not? It makes sense to me.
And
Yeah.
it fights against a more ethnocentric narrative too, by being like it's the people of
Yes.
faith, the people of goodwill, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think like the movie has an impossible task of transitioning in general because it has to. It's a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like is there an amount of time that makes a transition like
Yeah.
that? So it's I don't think it's always going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think that's fine because the transition out of something like that is always going to be uncomfortable because you do have to eventually find hope, even while you are also reconciling the cost that was just spent.
Yeah. Um, and we get this line after the song where Zipporah is like, look, your people are free. You had the thing that you wanted. But Pharaoh, they're at the sea, and Pharaoh comes with an army. He's changed his mind. He's going to kill them.
Hmm.
And God sends the cloud of fire to give them a moment to separate them. And everyone's panicking, but we get the voice of God in Moses' head saying, put your staff and we'll find a way. And he parts the sea. Stunning.
Hmm.
And we get them crossing sea. Aaron is the one who's like, okay, let's go.
He's first.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
It's like
they're
now he 100% is in, and it's not necessarily faith in God. I think one of you said it, maybe Alyssa, that like
Hmm.
it's faith in Moses.
yeah.
Yeah.
And when Ramses is 100%, I'm gonna kill you, Aaron is like, now we're ride or die.
Yep.
Uh, and they're crossing. We get these beautiful like flashing lights where you can see like the sea creatures, like a whale and stuff swimming beside them. Uh,
Hmm.
and you get the fire going away and the charioteers coming after them. And now we're in a gauntlet.
Hmm.
And they're racing towards the end. This scene always got me as a kid. I was always like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. And like I understand why you would have to necessarily make it make this part of the movie specifically really, what is the word? Uh
High
it's like
stakes, thrilling.
high stakes. Yeah, thrilling, thriller-esque. But it's every time I'm like, why would God do that? Why would he why would he make them run? like like can't he just wait until they're all over to the other side and then release the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Egyptians?
Maybe he wanted the Egyptians to go in after them, and if they were already on the other side, they wouldn't have gone in.
Yeah. I think I like that
Yeah.
theory because it's like God wants to wipe them out because he knows they're coming. He's like,
Yes.
I'm going to officially free you from your enslavers by
Yeah.
taking care of them.
Yeah. Either that or he's an almond mom and he's like, I need y'all to run a little bit, do a light jog. But I mean, they've been working in the fields, they're sore. They've been building bricks. But yeah, I think that's my first theory is the one I would stand by. And as the seas come in, they wipe out the Egyptians, and different from the book, adaptational choice, Pharaoh survives, is swept to the other side, and is screaming Moses.
Mm.
And Moses is looking out, saying like goodbye, Ramses. Like he's mourning the loss of that brother. And but now his people are free, they move on. He's coming down with the Ten Commandments. Movie's ending.
Hmm.
You get the miracle again, reprise,
Yeah.
Yep.
reprise. There can be miracles.
Yeah. Take it away, Whitney and Mariah. I mean, way to get the like they're like, we need the best vocalists in the world.
And they did. Yeah,
And
they
they
got
did.
it. For
Yeah.
1998, they're like, who are the best? Yes, it's them. Hmm.
Yeah. And that is correct. Like just a fact. Yeah. Sorry, Celine. Uh and this is where we're always like, do we root for our protagonist? And I think we covered
We've
that in
covered that.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh so this is a big question. It's a two-parter. The big question, was that your fantasy? On one hand, is it a movie you like? And on the other hand, is it a story you want to live through? I'm going to start with you, Hannah.
Mm. Obviously, I love this movie.
I'm shocked.
And you can restart the episode to listen to all the thoughts that I have on that specific point. I wouldn't want to live through this, even though I know how it ends. But I do hold a very special place in my heart for this movie, and it's a good one.
Alyssa, was that your
So,
fantasy?
like, absolutely not. I don't want to be in this world in well, who's to say if it happened or didn't happen, if it happened, that long ago, and viewing this as a historical event. I don't want to be living back then because I want plumbing. All right.
I Yep.
That's at least one of the things that makes this movie not my fantasy.
Mhm.
Indoor plumbing gonna be a big hit.
Indoor plumbing, yes. But like, it's just so tragic. And there are a lot of things modern day that are tragic, and I have the privilege to have that limited in my life. And I'm happy with that. Like, I never wish tragedy on anyone. But the fact that it's been limited for me is something that I am grateful for. Um, do I love this movie? Absolutely. Like I said, it's in my top 5 films of all time. And it's beautiful and it's well written and meaningful. So,
Mhm.
yes, I love this movie.
Uh, was this my fantasy? I mean, yes, in that it is beautiful and moving and amazing songs and like gorgeous world. Like we talked about Gods of Egypt and how empty, like how little of an impression that Egypt left on me in my brain compared to like this Egypt and how it looks. And this is a movie where Egypt is the bad guys. Sort of. I mean, that's derivative. I think the fact that this movie even like captures a Bible story with so much humanity and empathy and really focuses on the human element, which is, I think, the issue with a lot of art based on religious tales is its inability to focus on the humanity. Um, and that humanity aspect is, I think, why this movie stands out, both among films and among religious content-based films, uh, and why it was a success and is still well regarded. Now, do I want to live this out? I'm going to say no too, in that uh that all the gods running around, there's that they do not seem to have a lot of compassion for the normal folk. A lot of people be dying, a lot of plagues. I'm either being plagued and I'm complicit in slavery, or I'm a slave and I do get freed, but that's still pretty traumatic. This is generational trauma. And no, thank you for that. I'm a second born, so the plague would skip me, but it would get my brother, and that's not fun. Or well, would it get my sibling? But a great movie. Like, and again, I don't think any of us are as religious as we were as children. Um, to sum up a lot with a little. But I think we still love this movie. And I think that shows the power of art.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll also take it a little further, that like the power of stories, like morality stories, that like there's a lot that I don't like about having grown up religious, but there is a lot that I did get out of it too. And I think this is one of those things that reminds me of that, that like it wasn't all bad. There was a lot that was impactful for me and positively. So, yeah.
Well, listeners, that's our journey for today. This is the beginning of our Swords and Sandals spring and summer. We're talking about epic mythology, ancient history movies. Because of Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, this is our time to do it.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure which our next episode is, To
But
be honest, I
it
haven't
could be
scheduled it.
it could be a Clash of the Titans, one of those two, the
Yeah.
original or the remake. It could
Jason
be,
and the Argonauts. It could be
yeah,
Percy Jackson. It could be
the Percy Jackson
Troy.
series, the second
Yeah.
season, because we might talk about that.
Ooh.
So
We
we
got a lot
have,
of stuff on the table.
yeah, so a lot of mix of stuff. This is going to be over the next couple months, of just us picking up some interesting films.
Yeah. So see you at the Mediterranean. And Alyssa,
I'm dressed like I'm going
yeah.
on a cruise in the
I
Mediterranean.
said you were giving Rachel Weisz in The Mummy. Yeah. Uh, so Alyssa, thank you for coming on and for waiting ever so patiently for us to finally do the Prince of Egypt episode.
Seriously.
Years. You were Miriam vision boarding this. You were many nights you prayed with no hope anyone could hear.
Thank you for having me. I had a blast. And I will always take an excuse to watch this movie because, yes, I do. I do love it. And I will continue to love it and watch it.
Thank you for coming on. Happy Passover, Easter, for any holidays you celebrate.
And also,
Be
it's spring.
happy spring.
Yes. Yeah.
Be
Happy
blessed.
spring.
No, make love, not war. Be grateful for those that you love and spread the love and fight against tyranny. That's what we wish for you all. And for all people of goodwill. And that's the gospel according to me. No, and that's how
That's how
Sue
Cullen sees
sees
it.
it. Yeah. But thank you, listeners, and we'll see you very soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.